share my screen. Let me know once you can able to view my screen. I hope now you're able to view my screen. Is it?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so let's first set an agenda and then we will jump on it. The first thing that I will walk you through again in terms of creating an instance. Okay, we will also do an installation of web server. So this exercise is something for all of you, right? How to get logged in into your system. I will walk you through what I have mentioned in the last video also, and then I will walk you through, because I got last week certain communications in terms of the Unix video I have shared. So how have you have to go through those Unix video? I will take small session on maybe basic shell scripting, but not in that extension that I have shared in video, but I will walk you through so that it will give you a fair idea, right? What are the things there and how you're going to study them parallelly with the course, so that your Unix skills are also in par with your DevOps skills. And after that, we will do certain exercises in AWS concept side. So we will be doing some lab in terms of uh, creating a serverless application. At the end, first I will walk you through certain services also, use case of those services also. And we will talk about certain things that I had already discussed in the basic concept part of AWS. Now we are familiar with what regions are, what availability zones are. Right? We talked about subnet. We talked about certain CIDR aspects also. So we will discuss about that, and we are going to do a serverless. You can say lab also, but before that there are a few things related to Apache web server installation using advanced option in the console itself. That is something related to user data, and that's all thing that we are going to achieve today. Okay, so I will start with instance creation and login to instance creation. Okay, so not this nice. Oh, there are 5 people waiting. Let me bring them in. So, hello guys. So we had already discussed about the agenda. So I am just going to do a repeat action of account creation and login, and then after that we will do some
गप बसा,
overviews.
तुम्ही काहीच नका
Of,
बोलू इकडे.
so,
फक्त
Mathili,
इकडे भाजीकडे लक्ष ठेवा, चहाचं बंद करा.
Mathili, mute yourself. Okay. So let me start with server creation. So I will be logging into that AWS account. Pull it down. Just give me 1 minute. Right. So I'm going to launch an instance. So you can choose any you can say image of your choice. There's an image provided per region, right? For every region there are set of images for them. You can create your own image and use those image. Sometimes you have heard the terminology called golden image, right? So those golden image are nothing but a pre-baked image with certain security aspects taken care in that image. So in our case, we are going to use AWS provided images, and I told you for every region there would be a different set of images. In some time you will not find an image which is present in North Virginia but not present in Ohio or Mumbai region. Their AMI IDs might also differ. So these are the things this you will understand slowly, but this is just an information that I am passing to you. Now I'm going to use the select option. So I have selected that AMI, that I am going to use that AMI. So ultimately what's happening, you are using AWS way of providing you virtual machine. So they have already what, a hardware stack deployed in certain data center. When I say data center, I mean it is availability zone, right? So I am in America's region, right? We call it North Virginia. The region name, that is US East. This is entire US East region. Inside that, there would be availability zones. Like if you see, the region name is what, US dash East dash one. This is the naming convention they have used. And the availability zone would be what, US dash East dash one A, one B, one C, as per the number of data centers present in that region. So it could be 7, it could be 8. So they're increasing, right, the number of regions, and sometimes they also bring new data centers, and their communication happens in their site. So you can get all those stats, right, from the AWS. So we have selected in one of regions, we have selected in one of data center, from one hardware we are spinning up one virtual machine. Okay. Now, how Google is different in that context? So Google generally do not launch what, virtual machine. So they are not launching what we call thick virtualization. They do what, thin virtualization. So doc means, basically I'm not talking about Docker, but Google generally provide you containers in terms of instances, not virtual machine. But AWS provide you what, virtual machine. Therefore you will, if you're working on both, right, GCP and AWS, you will see the container launches faster than VM. So VM sometimes takes some time because it has to reboot and all that, which is not in case of container. So this is what the difference is also, you have to understand. Now I am using free tire. I hope no one is waiting. There are two people waiting. This is one of the challenge that I have to keep eye on, this also part, this part also. Mhm. So guys, if you see anyone in waiting room, intimate me. If you have observed someone, right, is waiting, so let me know. Okay, so I am using this T2i micro machine, and I am going to configure instance detail. I can skip it also, I can directly launch it also, but let's see. There are certain things that you have to understand. Last class also I have explained this. So number of instance is what, one. This is certain configuration, right? As per your need, you can tweak it and get that thing. For example, you had already created a VPC, which is, I told you what. Can anyone tell me what is VPC in a line or two line maybe? क्या है VPC?
It's a
It
virtual private cloud which is allocated for our personal use. I mean,
So
specific to one
basically,
person.
it is for you like a virtual data center, right? Your
yes,
area
correct.
of, right, working, right, your own data center in which you have on your racks and all that. It's a virtual, right? So nobody can intrude, right, in your data center. In that way, they have given you, right, a network uh, size would be there, right? A VPC would be a network. Inside that network, you can define your sub networks as per your use case or architecture of application that you're going to design. So you can have a network with limited number of machine capabilities, right? So obviously your CIDRs would be defined in such a way. Okay. So we are using default VPC, which is, right, provided when you open an account in per region, there would be a default VPC for your account. Subnet, by default, I am not choosing one, but if I drop down, if you see, right, these are the number of availability zones in North Virginia. US East 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, right? And each, you can say, availability zone can have one subnet. So if you have created one subnet, you can use those subnet, okay? And you can create your own subnet also. Now, auto assign public IP. If you want your machine to be public facing, your instance should get a public IP. You can, right, set it, or already it is enabled. You can enable it, or you can disable it if you don't want it. Now, there is a concept of elastic IP. Can anyone tell me what is elastic IP?
So basically, Elastic IP is you want to have a fixed public IP for your instance, which will not be changing after each restart or reboot. So those IPs are provided by AWS on a
So
charge basis.
generally, you have said one thing, right? Charge basis also. Yeah, that's true. But how it is getting charged? Any idea? How
If
that is?
it is not, if we are not using that IP, elastic
Wow.
IP, then we will
Perfect.
get charged.
So this is one important thing, right? That everyone would check it. If you're not using elastic IP, then you are going to get charged, not when you are using it. Perfect. Okay, so capacity reservation is something. Are you open for it, or target by ID means specific reservation given to you? Again, this all comes with some money to pay. Okay, so if you see, there are different kind of way, right? Purchasing option out there, right? You can request spot instances. Spot instances are what? It's something like if you go in a hotel, right? And if there is a room available, maybe, right, with less charge at that instance, right, you can buy it, or whatever the value at that time. So spot instances are given in such a way. Similarly, there could be kind of auctioning kind of instances also happen, and there are dedicated host also. So for that you have to pay, right, higher price, because you are dedicating for yourself. So this kind of different kind of purchasing options are there, which are flexible, and their pricing are also transparent. Okay, so this all options you can, right, click on, hover on this and study about them. I'm not going to get in detail about each and everything which are important. I will talk about them. For example, IAM role. Can anyone tell me what is IAM stands for?
Identity access management.
So when we say identity access management, which is very common word, right? It can be used in different aspects also. For AWS, there is an IAM service. Similar to if you're working on an operating system, they have their identity access management way of handling, right, the security. So basically, what it does, what IAM role does.
Okay, it allows a user a specific access to the services or resources.
So for example, let me give you some idea. So there are few things. There are user, there are group, and there are policies. You have to think in that term. Okay. For example, I am giving a user a work on my account, and I want him to do something hosting related to, right, S3 bucket. So I don't want him to write anything into the contents which are already there. So the way I will define is I will create a user with a limited, you can say, access to S3 service. And in policy, I can define what it can do with the S3 service, whether he can do a read operation, right, list operation, and all that, so that I can specify. So let me take you to IAM console, and I will show you. And it is very important if you're going to work in AWS environment in future, you will be dealing with the knowledge of IAM, and you have to understand it in a better way, because all the deploy runtime things depends on, right, how you are going to define your roles, and what roles at the deploy time or runtime your applications would be using them. For example, I'm going to create a user which would be accessing my, right, account, and say, for example, I want to create a user called Kunal. Okay, and see, Kunal is not there, so I will do what, add user, and say I give the name user Kunal, and I want Kunal to have both programmatic access and AWS. Can anyone tell me what do you mean by programmatic access, and what's the difference between AWS management console access?
Basically, programmatic access will he will require to have the access keys and secret access keys for accessing. You need to give the account ID for the account and which he's
So
trying to
when
access.
it will be useful, this access key ID and secret key ID?
Basically, in the CLI part, when you are using the command line interface.
Either command line interface or either you are writing certain application or software, developing
Yeah.
some software, right? At that time, how you will get connect with AWS account? Okay? Generally, how I am connecting right now, I am connecting using console. I have a username and password through which I log into my AWS account, and then I go through the web console and do something here and there. But in real world, right, you have to do programmatically. So you would be using certain tools like CloudFormation, Poto library, Python, basically I mean to say, or Terraform. In that case, to do some activity in your AWS account, right, in a programmatic manner, you need this access key and secret key ID. Sometimes you have to identify a way so that you can have an access already, or you could have a temporary access for 1 hour. So there are many certain way to get logged into your account, but without access key and secret access key ID you cannot. These are two important mandatory things too. So somehow you have to attain them and store them. So I will show you. So
So, Deepak, one question. So this most of the time, like we will be accessing the environment through command line only. So these things like creating users and creating VPCs and all the things, should we learn in the command line as well?
see, for example, we will be doing certain labs in Ansible. Okay, so in Ansible, I have a lab called provisioning an EC2 instance. What we did manually today, right? Creating what we are doing right now. We are not going
Okay.
to do that, and we want to do launch instance using a program using Ansible. At that time, we will see the use case of this.
Okay. Okay.
A typical example, it is very basic. If you want to do command line access, it is nothing. You need certain utilities to be installed in your system. For example, you need an AWS CLI, which can be installed using pip. When you know Python, right, you will understand what is pip. Pip is a Python package installer, and so that you can
Package
install
installer.
AWS CLI, you will get an AWS command execution. Then you have to do what? You have to set up, right, this access key ID and secret key ID. So there is something called command called AWS configure. So configure will ask you access key ID, secret key
Yes.
ID, and it will store it in a hidden file in your home directory in .aws folder. Okay, and then so we have some labs defined for that also. In Terraform, we are going to do that. What I am saying right now,
Okay.
we
So
configure.
this whole setup we will be doing again from the command line part.
So it is always as per the lab, right? We will be executing them, understanding them. It's something, right? One time understanding, and over that you can execute anything. For example, I want you to list buckets, S3 bucket from command line. So how you will do? First, you will need what? A programmatic
A
access,
programmer. Yes.
and you should know or aware, right, how to set up programmatic access. Second thing, and then you should be aware how we can execute commands to, right, communicate to the services which are there in the account. Correct? Got it?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So now I can console password. I can do an auto-generated password. I can give already a custom password. For example, I can give Kunal user at the rate 123, right, which I can show. So these are options, and they can be easily understood if you walk them through, right? And I don't want require password to reset because I am setting up the custom password. So I don't want him to do a require password set. I can give him, or if I want, right, after first login he should reset, I can enable it in both the cases, auto generated and right. So see, this are various things. Now say I'm going with this, for example, and then I say next, permissions. Now this is the area, right, where you can understand the terminologies I told, right? User, group, and policies. Now user could be part of a group. For example, there are certain user who are developers, there are certain user who are administrators, and there are certain users who will be doing, right, some test thing, right? So as per that I can create group and associate this Kunal user to that group. Okay, and this group will be binded with certain policies, and that policy that the group is binded with directly apply on the user. जो यूजर जिस ग्रुप का पार्ट होगा और ग्रुप के ऊपर जो पॉलिसी अटैच होगा वो पॉलिसी उस यूजर पे भी attach हो जाएगा automatically, right? Now say for example I'm not going to create a group. I have a user, but I want right certain policies to be right given to this particular user. So I went to attach existing policies, and there are certain options out here. For example, administrator, it is similar to write every permission to that user, but now I want to give user right S3 limited access, say read only access. Now, if you go to this policy, if I go to drop down and see the policy summary, okay, and in JSON, if I see, it is written something like this. This is right how you will see in the roles also, the policies. So it is written here something like allow what only S3 get and S3 list. Okay,
Yes.
so that is what a specific permission given to that user. So this user cannot talk to any other services in AWS, but can only do what S3 get and list services. So obviously, if I select this, right, and say go to tags, I can skip tags. I don't want to give the tag. So tags are generally for identification, right? Programmatically, if you want to identify using tags, you can filter and identify. Therefore, tags are useful. And then I can go to review and I can create this user. Once I create this user, and since I have selected programmatic access, you will see, right, you will get a detail about access key and secret access key ID. You can download this CSV to keep those access key and secret access key with you, right? Else you can take from here, but it is visible one time. Once you close, you cannot retrieve the secret access key. Okay. So obviously safe practice would be download the CSV and keep the information with you, or copy from here and keep the information with you. If you don't copy and don't copy the secret access key and close it, you will lose the secret access key. Okay. Now this user has been created. If I close it, I have not downloaded it. Okay, because I'm going to delete this user. And if I go to this user, okay, so you can see the permission part contains this read access. Now I can add another permission to an existing user. I can add more permission related to the requirements which will come. Is this clear? And if you see the ARN for this is right, this is an IAM service, and it is user Kunal, right? User Kunal, there is right. You can say ARN is nothing but identification, right, of user ID. You can say in certain context, right, through which you will identify. And security credentials are here, right, in which you can generate the access key ID. For example, you forgot to save, you can make this inactive, and you can create another access key for this user. Again, the programmatic key that you want to create. So all this, you can say features, right, which are here, can be explored by you, but this is the general information that you have to understand, the difference between user, group, policy, and IAM role. Now I'm come to roles. So policy, right, we had created, if you see, or there are already created policies which we have used, or we can create managed policy with ourselves. For example, I go to role and I create a role, and in while creating a role, right, say for example I created a role and I will say it is related to AWS service. So I selected this AWS service, and common use is EC2 Lambda. Okay, that's fine. So I will select EC2. Okay, and I will go to next permissions, and say I want EC2 whatever this role, right, has administration access, so it can do anything. And I go to next tags, and then I go to preview and give a role name, right? Say EC2 admin. Means EC2 has a lot of things, right? EC2 have auto scaling, EC2 have volume, EC2 have load balancer. So say for example, one user, I want to give him all the access that he can do. So I named it EC2 admin. Okay. And the policies is administration access, and I created a role. Now our role name is what? EC2 admin. Now it should be identified here, searched here, right? EC2 admin. I got this EC2 admin. If I click here, okay, see, this is the policy which has administration access to EC2. Now I want this right EC2 admin also get S3 related thing or in right. So I can attach a policy again, and I can use S3 full access to this particular user, not user, this role, and attach this policy. Now if you see in role, for particular role, this has all these permissions, EC2 administration access, okay, and then Amazon S3 full access. So in that way, you can create a role, and that you can attach that role, right, to a particular service while using it. For example, for EC2 service here, if I go here now in EC2, since I created that role, I can go to this drop down, and I can see that right now it is not refreshed. That rule has been created. I will get that option here. So let me refresh it and see. See, EC2 admin come, right? I can use that and apply this right for that particular instance, that it can do whatever limited stuff or whatever stuff that I want to give. So I can attach a role, I can decide. So I'm not doing that, but this is how we can attach a particular role to a particular service. Okay. Now CPU options, we already selected T2 micro with a reason. So we are not going to use or extend it further. Okay. So I'm not doing that. So this all are right. You can study this means tenancy basically is sometime important, and as per the choosing, right, you will be charged. So shared run a shared hardware instance means whatever you are using right now as a VM may be shared by someone else, right? And therefore there are credits given, right? For example, if you are using a lot, you will lose your credit and you will see slowness in your instances, free instances, because you have lose your credits, someone has get the maximum utilization of CPU, but you are having a limited for one CPU I'm talking about. So there would be rate exchange, and you will see sometimes slowness and all that happens. And there are similarly many other options like dedicated. For that you need to pay or shell money out of your pocket. ठीक है, अभी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ये है एडवांस डिटेल्स. जनरली कई बार आप ऑटोमेशन करोगे और क्लाउड फॉर्मेशन या कोई भी इस तरह की चीजें यूज करोगे AWS में. जनरली हम टेराफॉर्म देखते, तो वहां पे हम क्या कर सकते हैं, हम यूजर डाटा यूज कर सकते हैं. यूजर डाटा क्या होगा, कोई मेरे को बता सकता है, व्हाट कुड बी अ यूजर डाटा?
It would be any script.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can pass a file, suppose a bash script.
But a use case, that's true, right? User data generally would have a file or right a shell script. So whenever you want to do some runtime command, run instance time command, right? You want to execute a command while your instance is booting up. Okay, at that time this user data scripts or user data files are what executed at the boot time.
Yes.
So they have given you an option where you can execute certain shell script, right, which is like something like you want to set up your prerequisite at the time of booting up, so that you don't need to do right when you log into that machine. And for example, I want to have a web server installed, right, rather than when I log in and then I install. Okay. So what I can do, I can write some small script, something like this bin, right? So I'm writing a bash script. So bin bash something. Someone is pinging. Maybe someone is out or what. Okay, Deepak, can you please share meeting? It is still showing meeting host. Okay. This is. So this is what sometimes in this online world, right, we have to deal with. I will ask everyone to call me in case they have to wait for a long time. So guys, just a small instruction in case you are hanging there in right waiting room for a long time, do call me. Okay. Okay. Mhm. I am here in launch instance. Okay. Okay. So, for example, this first line that I have written, right, has exclamation bin bash. What do you mean by that? Anyone gone through or have done 2-3 videos of my Unix can answer that.
Actually, it is a representation for using the bash shell.
Bash script.
Yes. So generally, when we say these are generally known as very in common slang way, right? They are known as shebang. Okay. But basically, it means a directive, right? So it is like of a user directive telling user that you are going to use what? You are going to use a bash shell for what? Interpreting the command that you will write down. For example, I am writing bash and I'm going to use a certain keyword which doesn't exist in shell, and I am using, for example, uh, some pop function, right, which is there in Python, for example. Just say it means what? Bash is not able to interpret this what I have written, so it will fail definitely. So bash can interpret what bash understands. So bash can understand certain commands that can be executed, and it can execute and right talk to the system level software, so that it can talk to kernel basically. So here say I want to do yum update. So first I'm updating yum through yum. I'm updating my operating system kernels. So whatever packages and software should be there, and then I can do yum install httpd. Okay. So httpd is a web server, right? For Red Hat instances. So I am installing yum install httpd -y, and then I can start the service also using system ctl, right, start httpd means. So I have written just 3 lines of code in which I am right in a runtime installing a web server, httpd web server in my instance. So this will be executed once this system will boot. So now I can add storage. See, I'm done with this part. So I will move ahead. I will add storage. By default, I am going to use only 10 GB. I told you, right? Maximum 30 GB is free, and after that it will be chargeable. So at the max 3 instances, every instance 10 GB, right? 30 GB max. If you start a new machine, then it will become 40 GB. For 10 GB, you will start getting charged. Okay. Now add tags. So I can add a tag just for our understanding. For example, I will use a name tag, which gives name to the instance. I will say, right, learning Unix, for example. And configure security group. So obviously SSH is required, and since I am installing a web server, I need port to be whitelisted so that I can I can access my web server from the outside world. So I am using custom TCP, or you can use HTTP also. For example, if I am using custom TCP, I have to give what? IP 80. Okay, sorry, port 80, so that port 80 is open for inbound and outbound, means ingress and egress, and it is allowed for IPv4 and IPv6, but I don't have IPv6 to use, so I will remove this part. I will delete this part. And what do you mean by this 0.0.0/0? Anyone?
It means from anywhere we are allowing traffic.
All the
Correct.
IPs, yeah.
So
Everyone
say for
will.
example, if I want to restrict to a certain network, then
You
We
need
have
to
to
mention.
enter IP address of that
so
network.
the network address basically, right? The CIDR
Yes.
of the network. For example,
Yes.
I want to give to entire range of 10.0, all right, 10.1.00 means 10 dot, say for example 1, just for example I'm writing, then here there should be, right, this, for example this. So how many IPs will come in this right CIDR definition? All those IPs will be able to access them, right, in whatever the network that I have defined. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So I will.
Deepak, sorry to interrupt. Two participants are waiting.
Okay, thank you. Let
Yes, they are
me.
pinging.
Okay, let me take them. Okay, so perfect. Thank you. So I'm just taking it back to the C idea that we are going to use 0.0. Okay, and here also you will get an option, for example, anywhere or my IP, means just restrict to your IP, you can use my IP, or if you use anywhere, you will get 0.0.01, right, in custom that you are defining here. Now I told you, right, similar to like custom TCP, you can be right straightforward, you can use HTTP, which comes with 80 port only, you can define that, but I can make use of custom TCP for me. So this is also done. I am now in a state of review and launch. So I will do review. So everything that I have written, right, instance details. So here, right, every detail user data has, right, some encrypted value, right, and everything is out there. Now I will launch, and I will create a new key pair. Okay, and say I will name it learning Unix. So this spam I will download this key pair. So it has been downloaded. Let me check whether it went to my download folder or not. So is you can see here. Where it went? Let's see here. Desktop. No. This been downloaded or not? Let me check here. In also there is download, the same download. Let me check in browser. Okay, it has came late. Okay, so save file, save it. Okay, it has been, should be in downloads for sure. Yeah, it has come. Okay, so now I will launch the instance. So I'm using an Ubuntu laptop. Okay, I'm not using a Windows laptop. For Windows laptop, can anyone instruct me how we are configuring putty? Class.
First, we have to convert that putty key using putty.gen to PPK file.
Correct. So the
Then we have
steps
to
in that is what you have to open putty.gen. Okay, then there is a load button. Click on load. Load this spam file that you have downloaded, which I have downloaded right now. Okay, after that, save private key, not public key. What? Save private key.
private key.
And save private key, you can save without password, without passphrase. Okay, so there is an pop-up will open, and you can say yes, and it will ask you to name that file. So you can name that file. It will be a PPK file, that is putty understandable key, right? Private key. And once this PPK has been created, you can close your putty.gen, go to putty, right? And in the right pane, left pane, there is an SSH, right? Option. In SSH, there would be what? Advanced option. In that, you have to browse to that particular path. Okay, and use that PPK. You have to store that PPK. So you must revisit that video if you are not aware, right? Through putty, how you should do. Else, I have given you another solution. Install git bash in your what? In your Windows machine. So git
Windows.
bash will give you a Unix kind of terminal called git
Terminal.
bash, and you can just open git bash and you can do whatever I am going to do right now. Okay, so my machine is getting launched. I will see that what is the IP given to my machine. Public IP is given to my machine. So this is my learning Unix machine. Okay, I will just selecting it, and here in the detail section, let me take it. I will copy this. Why? Mhm. Sometimes there's a problem. Okay, let me copy this. Copied. Now I will go to terminal, right? So I will open a terminal here in my Ubuntu. Using Alt T also you can get that. Okay, so I hope my terminal is visible to everyone. It is, you
Yes,
can
sir.
see, right, this prompt. Okay.
Yes.
Now, where my PEM file is, my PEM file is in the downloads folder, right? So I'm using PWD to identify where I am right now. So I am in a directory called home piece. Okay. And I can use ls-ltr command, right, to see what all folders and files in this particular home directory of my, right? So there's a downloads folder I can see. I can go inside downloads. Okay, and here again I will do ls-ltr. I can see, right, certain files. And if you see, I have a learning unix.pem. Now you will see maybe right there, I told you last class also, with the open permissions to a PEM file, we might face issue related to login. So let's see that ssh -i. So -i is what? Identity file, right? SSH is looking for identity file, and my identity file is learning Unix PAM. And I have created a Red Hat instance, so I will be doing ec2 user at the rate the IP that I have copied. For Red Hat instance, username is ec2 user, and for Ubuntu, the username is what? Ubuntu. Okay, that you have to remember. So now I am doing this to login. It is asking. I will say yes. Now it says what? Permission denied, right? Load key learning units bad permission. So this, if you get this, I told you, right? We have to restrict learning Unix with a restricted permission, not that to open permission. So best way you can give chmod, use chmod command to change the permission of the file. And I'm changing it to something called only read only permission, that is 4, right? 00. So 4, this part, the 4 part is what? The user's part. So if you break down the permission of a file, so which I'm highlighting here, right? The first 3 rw dash, right, is what? User's permission, which I've highlighted, rw dash.
User group.
Yeah. Yeah. Then group, rw, the second octet, right? Rw dash is group. And the third octet,
Other.
others, right? So if I'm login as a say piece user, right? So it means a piece can enjoy what permission? Read and write permission. Okay. But if I have logged in into different user and try to access this file learning Unix PAM in use this home piece download, then I can only do what? Read access. I have only what? Others permission, that is only read permission, right? So this is what is actually very well way, right? You can say communicated in my Unix video. If you go to the file permission part of that video, you will understand each steps to understand them and change permission, learn the command, chmod command, right? In a very descriptive way, it is explained there. Okay. So chmod 400 to learning unix.pem, all good here, right? I've done that, and now I will try again SSH. See, I'm logged in this time without any error, right? So that was a problem with the permission, right? Now I am in ec2 user, that is AWS instance, right? Let me clear this. Okay. Now the first thing that you have to see, right? We did that HTTPD installation, whether it worked, whether it failed, what happened. Let's check that. So to check a process, command is what? PS AUX or EF, whatever you like, right? Pipe, and I want to grab HTTPD if it is installed. I can see, right, this HTTPD is installed, right? It means this advanced option of passing user data script worked for us, and our HTTPD process is running. Can anyone tell me how I can identify in which port this process is running? So what command you will use to do identify this HTTPD service is running on which port. By default, we know that basically it is 80, but still the question is identify a port for a process.
Netstat.
Netstat
Okay.
-tulnp.
Okay, sudo netstat either tulnp or nap, whatever, right? Pipe.
Yeah, NAP, yeah.
And then grab what?
HTTPD.
HTTPD or the process ID of
Process ID,
HTTPD,
yeah.
right? 4753, the root process ID, right? So I'm going to put here 4753. And we can see, right, this 4753 is listening on which port? 80 port,
80.
right?
Yeah.
So this is how, right, we can identify. Similarly, if we know port, we can identify the process ID using what? Grabbing the port. So for example, if I grab 80, right? See, 80 has been come and we come to know the process ID, right? So this is a certain interview question sometimes. So netstat is the command, but there are many other commands like lsof, right? Which also give very library specific information about a particular process. So netstat, lsof command, this is some networking commands that you should understand, learn. You should know about ping command. Can anyone tell me what is ping command?
Basically, yeah.
Yes,
Checks
sir.
what?
Continue.
Checks
Connectivity
what?
between two machines.
Okay, so connectivity or through the heartbeats basically, right, in some manner, right, it checks whether that is available or not, correct?
Yes.
Okay, trace route.
To
It
tracing the
basically path
of
of
the
the
packet.
package.
So
Yeah,
there could
packet.
be, since we are
From
working on network, there could be many
hubs.
routers or
Routers.
something in between in place, right, to reach
It
that
basically
particular.
counts the number of hop it takes, like on each router and each switch. It will be giving
Perfect,
all the details.
perfect,
Yeah.
perfect, good. Dig command.
It is basically for the DNS. I guess.
Perfect. So this all trace RT, dig, right, are related to identify, right, how the IPs are getting resolved. Basically, for example, if I run, right, I don't know whether it has dig command there or not. So if it is not there, you have to install it. By default, generally it comes. So I don't see the dig command here, right? So let's see if we have trace route. Trace RT is also not there. So these are utilities. Since we are using this, we need to install them and, right, make it work. Definitely ping is also disabled here. So those are a few things that right, is not with this instance, but in your working instances it would be there. These tools are helpful in terms of what? Identify. It will give you detail. Dig will give you a detailed description. For example, generally if you see Google DNS IP is what? Either 8.8.8.8 or 4.4.4.4. So when you do say for example trace route to certain URL, right, then you will see, right, it is getting resolved through 8.8.8. Now if you're working in your organization, so you could have your own DNS, and those DNS, right, goes to the outer world through DNS proxies. So obviously when you route it, you will come to know with your defined hosted zone and a record that you have defined, whether it is landing to those IPs or not, your network IPs, and from that it is, right, going to the outer world or not, right? So these commands will give you information how the flow, right, in the network which is defined by you when you are right, working in your network, is actually working appropriately or not. For example, a particular request is going outside your AWS network to an on-prem. Obviously, it can go to and from on-prem or from your AWS to on-prem. The resolution will happen if your DNS proxy will let you, right, to a router which will take you to the, right, on-prem environment. So this command will, right, definitely help you. So I would say don't go through only the basic use case of trace RT command or tick command. So you
Sir,
should mhm,
can you execute LSOF once?
execute.
LSOF, list of opening files.
Okay.
OF.
Right now in this EC2, LSF command is not there. Okay. So generally when you use LSF command, you use -p flag and the process ID. Okay, so it will give you entire detail, right, how that process, what kernel libraries that it is using, right? It will give a very detailed description of that. Okay.
Oh.
So I was not on LSF, Vivek. I was talking about instructing them about, right, how right you can do things or debug things, right, in real world. So I was giving example, right, how your knowledge of basic traceRT command, or you can say curl command, or sometimes, right, curl command is also used in terms of talking, whether you are able to resolve it or not, will help you to get certain information. So 3 or 4 commands, if you're good, right, you will be able to debug a lot of information. One thing which is very important, you should have an awareness about your definition of network in your organization where you're working. So you have to get into that. Without knowing that, right, you will not able to identify when you are doing stress RT, you will not able to identify कि मेरा नेटवर्क का आईपी क्या है, अगर आपको ही नहीं पता है कि किस नेटवर्क पे है और ऑन प्रिम का क्या है जो आप जिससे बात करना चाह रहे हो, then how you will identify, how you will use the right output of those commands.
You should know source IP and destination IP.
That is another thing. So sometimes source IP and destination IP you are aware, but if you're not aware about your DNS, your right DNS definitions, right, where they are, how it is from what IP it is will get resolved to certain IP, then again, right, you are nowhere. So you know your source and destination IP. Okay? The packets will flow what in between, right? Everyone know OSI layer, right? What is OSI layer? In college कैसे याद करते थे हम लोग? Please do not touch Steve Spat alligator, ना? Physical layer, data link layer, network, transport, है ना?
protocol.
Session, presentation and application layer, है ना? तो ये जो चीजें हैं, ये चीज जो ये बीच में जो चीजें आ रही हैं, आपका जो network transport layer आ रहा है, they are talking about how you are going to place your payload, right, from one physical device to another physical device, right? And physical device information that you are talking about, right, is given alias using either IP or something, right, which but actual address would be the MAC address of the devices, right? Those are the actual entity. So I would not tell you कि बहुत ज़्यादा deep dive करना, but at least right network awareness point of view से थोड़ा बहुत आपको एक कमांड के जो डिफरेंट फ्लैग्स हैं और उनके यूज केसेस और मीनिंग उनके जो फ्लो है उन पे आपको एफर्ट डालना चाहिए, ठीक है, रेदर देन जंपिंग हार्ड इन टर्म्स ऑफ गेटिंग इनटू वेरी डिटेल्ड डिस्क्रिप्शन। वो ठीक है, जब पहले ये नॉलेज आप गैदर कर लोगे धीरे धीरे उस पर आप वर्क कर सकते हो अगर आपको नेटवर्किंग साइड पे थोड़ा चैलेंज है। तो मैं पहले ये बोलूंगा, पहले कुछ कमांड्स उठाओ जो जनरल यूज में होता है जिसे आप डिबग करते हो, एंड देन यू कैन गो टू हायर टूल्स। फॉर एग्जांपल, हैव एनीवन यूज्ड वायरशार्क? Any
I know
analyzer protocol
I know
analyzer tool?
Wireshark. I know
वायरशार्क।
Wireshark,
तो
but
वायरशार्क में क्या करते हो आप बताओ, कैसे डिबग करते हो उसको, कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करते हो कोई कोई चीजों को? उसमें वही चीज होता है जो आप ट्रेस आरटी कमांड और ये सब से करते हो, राइट? टीसीपी डंप के आउटपुट ही होते हैं वो, है ना, यूज करता है। तो जो टीसीपी डंप का आउटपुट होता है वो आपको एक कहते हैं पिक्टोरियल रिप्रेजेंटेशन में आता है। वहाँ पे यू कैन प्लॉट अ ग्राफ ऑल्सो, राइट, कि यहाँ से जो रिक्वेस्ट गया कहाँ कहाँ पे गया, कहाँ पे कौन से रिक्वेस्ट का क्या रेस्पॉन्स आया, तो टीसीपी रिक्वेस्ट है, सिप रिक्वेस्ट है, किस तरह का कौन सा प्रोटोकॉल यूज किया है, पेलोड का डाटा क्या है, वो सब विजिबल होता है वहाँ पे। तो जनरली
voice
इंसर्ट
processing in voice processing it is used more.
no, it is not like that. It can be used anywhere. Okay, so voice processing में आपको फायदा क्या होगा? वॉइस प्रोसेसिंग में फायदा ये होगा कि ऑब्वियसली जो आप सिप यूज कर रहे हो या कोई ऐसा प्रोटोकॉल यूज कर रहे हो, आरटी रियल टाइम स्ट्रीमिंग प्रोटोकॉल है, आरटीएसपी वगैरह, तो उसके डिटेल्स देखने के लिए यूज करते हैं जनरली, राइट? बट इट डजंट मीन इट इज जनरली यूज विद वॉइस। वी कैन यूज फॉर एनी डिबगिंग केस। अगर कोई चीजें बहुत ज्यादा एस्केलेट हो रही है, राइट, इन टर्म्स ऑफ नेटवर्क, कुछ पैकेट्स लॉस हो रहे हैं कहीं पे और पता नहीं चल रहा है, तब आपको नेटवर्क एनालाइजर टूल ही अच्छे से बता पाएगा, राइट? Until unless you have very good awareness of your network stack, then you can easily, right, identify whether without using network analyzer tool, some right, a good network engineer will definitely easily identify कि कहाँ पे जाके data loss हो रहा है, packet loss हो रहा है, उसको पता चल जाएगा। because same thing what network analyzer pictorially represent, you have TCP dump command, right, in command line to achieve this. So I'm just passing you this information. If you're working in certain debugging area or operational area where you do it, so do it right in a planned manner way, right? Not in a ad hoc way कि भाई ये command के इसका output ही आया तो मेरा काम हो गया. थोड़ा उसके अंदर के detailings को, command के detailings को भी समझना जरूरी है. Then it will be more useful. Then you will be right more aware actually. Okay, so सबसे पहले तो मैंने बोला था हमने यूजर डाटा स्क्रिप्ट से HTTPD प्रोसेस कर लिया, हमने पोर्ट आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया, एंड देन वी टॉक्ड अबाउट सर्टेन नेटवर्किंग राइट कमांड और डिबगिंग केस. अनदर थिंग इन AWS एरिया, whenever you use user data script, right, you should see something like this. For example, pwd, right, do ls minus ltr, okay, ls minus ltr a, or it is in etc size, okay, cd slash etc user data. So somewhere this user data logs are generated. Let me check where log. Yeah, where log. ls minus ltr a. Okay, here. So in where log you will see something called this cloud init log. This cloud init log are what? Can anyone tell me? क्या होगा इसमें information? Anyone? नाम से क्या पता चल रहा है? Whenever you are initiating, your machines are booting. I'm audible to everyone, right? First of all.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Okay.
Yes,
So
Yes.
whatever you are writing in user data script, right? And if it is failing, where to go and debug, right? This is the area where you can debug. For example, if I open this cloud init log file using VI, so big file, take, okay, it is permission denied. Or let me do using sudo since it is in var log. Okay. And right, if I go down, so this is how at the boot time, right, what all things are happening, it is showing that. And somewhere here we would have, right, our user data script related information in between. Okay, let me check HTTPD. So if it fails, right, generally in case of fail it will log here. So it is a debug log, and at the boot time whatever is happening, right, is logged here. Okay, it's not showing me, but this is the area, this is something, right, you should be aware of. Okay, so where your user data scripts are logged, it is logged in the cloud init dot log file, right? This is the checkpoint for you in case user data scripts are failing. Okay, let's check in the output also. Output dot log cloud init dash here. So if I do search HTTPD, yeah, see here our actual command execution, you can see, right, has been logged. So when I run the command yum install httpd minus y, right, see this thing, right, has been picked up and your http package are, right, getting installed. So here your installation of httpd and everything happened and it was complete. So this is how this user data script are logged. In failure, it will be filled in cloud init.log. You will get error message, and this is all, right, what it has logged, what we did in user data script. Okay, so this is the file that you should keep in your mind. In interviews, generally they ask कि कहाँ पे log होता है user data जो script आप लिखते हो, तो answer should be what, in var log cloud init. Okay, and related to Unix hierarchy, file hierarchy, those who are very new to Unix, there is one session which I have passed in introduction of right Unix section. If you go through that video, you will get a detailed description, right, of this hierarchy. For example, what root means in Unix, what slash bin means in Unix, what slash etc meant in Unix, what slash var, right, meant in Unix, what slash temp has a meaning, what is slash dev. So all these are, right, in a very detailed manner described out there. So for beginners, it's very important to understand file hierarchy. It is something when you're working in Windows, you know, right, कोई भी चीज आप लाइब्रेरी इंस्टॉल करते हो या कुछ आपको DLLs देखने हैं तो आप कहाँ जाते हो, C ड्राइव में जाते हो, C ड्राइव में जाके विंडोज 32 में जाके ड्राइवर्स में जाके ढूंढते हो ना. तो similarly if you are aware of this file hierarchy in Unix, it will be easier. For example, all the pre-installed Unix binaries or command that you use in Unix are stored in what? /bin and /sbin, right? Secured bin, secured commands would be there. So those are information there. etc contains what? Configuration, right? System configurations are out there. So in that way, every this hierarchy has certain meaning and certain use cases. So in where generally you will see system logs information, right, related to cron definitions will be found in where. So this all information is given in that video, and I would suggest you in a very spare time sometime listen to those videos. You will get certain insights, and you will get familiar to the Unix environment. Okay. Okay, so this is one thing that we achieved. I hope launching instance, running user data script, and debugging if anything happens or fails, right? Is this. And now the security group part, let me just show you. For this instance, we had set up our security group. Security group creation के time पे हमने security group create करवाया, and our security group name, it is here. This is our security group. If you remember, we had enabled port 80 there, right? Let's see this security group information. From instance details, I went to security group section, and I clicked on the security group ID out there, and I can see, right, we have this definition HTTP 80 and SSH 22, right? This all definition we had given in our security group. Now inbound is what? Anything which is we are doing what? Ingress. We are taking coming in, and egress is what? Outbound. If we are want to show something, right, someone hitting our application and want to give output of that request or API request, we should allow through the outbound. And security group sits over what? Instances, huh? And NACLs
on
are
subnet level.
at network levels, right?
Network
So
level,
subnet
yeah.
level. So these are things that you should be very clear. Never they will try to judge you, right, whether you are aware of that or not.
So Deepak, one question. So like you said, we can use IP here as well for blocking the income for filtering the traffic from some particular IP in security group. So
Correct.
what's the need of using NACL then? Like NACL
See,
also does the same part only.
So NACL has a different nature. For example, security groups are what? Stateful, right? So what is inbound can go outbound. अगर मैंने inbound allow किया तो outbound. NACL क्या है? NACL में मैं inbound कर सकता हूँ, stateless है. हाँ, तो आपको enable करना पड़ेगा outbound को, है ना? या deny आप outbound deny कर सकते हो, ये. That is the main difference. और नेटवर्क का यहाँ पे जो यूज केस है वो क्या है? सिंपल एक रेस्ट्रिक्शन लेवल तक ना क्या बोलते हैं उसको, स्टेटफुलनेस देने के लिए. ठीक है? Is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay. Now so since I have did the ingress, right, and outgress is also there, I have not done any deny on 80 port in NACL. Now if I try to access to the IP, right,
sorry Deepak to
please.
disturb you. How to just go on that rules
security
that
groups?
we have, security group.
Okay.
How to manage these rules? Because when I see in my console, there is only one rule that is applied here.
So there is an option, edit option, right? For example, if I go to security group, there is an edit inbound rules is there, right?
Okay.
Click over this, right? Add rules or delete rules.
Yeah.
Okay. In that way, you can easily manage that. Okay.
Okay.
Let me cancel it, and I have copied that IP of that instance. Okay. And now I am trying to access. Default port is 80, right? So I don't need to write 80 port. And if I try to access, if HTTPD server is listening, I will get an output out here. Right? See, this is my HTTPD server page, right? It is the default page while installing your HTTP comes. Generally, your root path of index page is where www.html. If you want to place your index page, you should create an HTML page and put it in where www.html. Okay, and then it will show you that page. Okay, this is a test page, which is a default page, right? It would not be in where www.html. It will right. So it is written here, right? If you are the website administrator, you may now add content to the directory where www.html. So for your hosting your any right web application. Okay, now this is one thing which is related to right AWS instance creation, accessing that instance, and all those details. Now I will jump into overview of Unix related stuff, which will help you to go through those video and get along. So I will not spend much time, because generally spending much time you will lose the main focus where we want to put. Okay, but I will take. So let's do one thing, guys. We are continuous for 1 hour. So let's take 5-minute break. Okay. And after 5 minutes, we will meet here. So I will be just pausing the video. Okay. It's fine for everyone to take a 5-minute break.
Yes.
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 Okay. And after that, right, please remind me that I have paused the recording. Okay. Now, before starting in the Unix world, I just want to give you a demo in VI, so that some of you which are very new, right, get comfortable sometimes, because we have to use VI for certain learning purposes. So I am giving a small demo on VI. And after that, I will be giving you some basic programmatic information, so that will help you around for any programmatic language that you want to work on. Okay, my screen is shared, right, or it has been lost?
Sir, Sir Vivek here
No,
this side.
Yeah, screen is here.
yeah, yes, Vivek.
Sir, can you please give us the small information about the virtual machines also?
See,
Infra.
virtual machine information would definitely happen in when we will went into the virtualization part. But still, if you know, let me give you some small information. But in detail, we are going to learn when we start talking as a topic. Now, first of all, when you say virtualization, so virtualization can happen with anything. There could be an operating system virtualization. There could be something related to memory virtualization. There could be related to disk virtualization, right? So virtualization means what? Replicating something, right, which will work like what we are replicating into, है ना? उसको virtualization बोलेंगे. अगर मैं विवेक का एक और कॉपी बना दूंगा, तो उसको क्या बोलूंगा? मैं किसको वर्चुअलाइज किया? विवेक को वर्चुअलाइज किया. Yes or no? Correct. So when we talk about VM, we are generally talk about what? Operating system virtualization. Got my point? Now when I say operating system virtualization, I have only one hardware. मेरे पास हार्डवेयर क्या है? एक ही है ना? या तो मैं उसमें एक ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इंस्टॉल कर सकता हूँ. अगर मुझे मल्टीपल ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम यूज करना है सेम हार्डवेयर पे, तो मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा? I should have something in which I can share the resources which I have. For example, मेरे पास 100 टेराबाइट का डिस्क स्पेस है. ठीक है, मेरे पास 64 GB का रैम है. ठीक है, ये सब चीजें हैं मेरे पास. अगर मैं उसमें एक ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम यूज करूं, राइट, और सिंपल एक एप्लीकेशन चलाऊं, सो आई एम नॉट यूटिलाइजिंग, राइट, माय हार्डवेयर in a proper manner, right? I am not using it properly. So what people thought of, can we share these resources, right, and create guest operating system over it, so that we have two kind of segregation, that the environments can be segregated, because there is right multiple operating system on a single hardware I am launching. So it can be done in many ways. So it can be done using what? I can use something called what? Hypervisor, right? So there are two types of hypervisor, type 1 or type 2, right, which is software based. Another is what? Hardware based. Have you heard about ECXI servers or devices, right?
Yes.
Which
Yes,
sits
yes.
over that hardware. It does what? It generally creates what? Guest operating system over it, right? So, for example, if I say this Google had used Andromeda as one of the tooling through which right they do container launching from the hardware, which is similar to like a hypervisor basically, but it does what? Thin virtualization. But in general case, ECXI, right, does what? थिक वर्चुअलाइजेशन. थिक वर्चुअलाइजेशन में क्या होता है? आपका हार्डवेयर डेडिकेटेड, हार्डवेयर रिसोर्सेज डेडिकेटेड वे में शेयर होता है. आप रीयूज नहीं कर सकते वापस से. अगर फ्री है आपका गेस्ट ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम, इट डजंट मीन जो मेन ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम है उसको वापस से मिल गया. बट कंट्राइजेशन में क्या होता है? ये सॉफ्ट शेयरिंग रहता है. So have you understood, Vivek, basically what virtualization is?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So when we talk about VM, we are talking about operating systems. Okay,
Yes.
operating system virtualization. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
let's. Yes, please. Someone is
Yeah,
saying something.
Deepak, sorry, I joined late.
Mhm.
Just can you let me know from which terminal you are logging in? Like it is EC2 instance that we created on that
Yeah.
day, or
No, I had created today a new instance. Okay, in AWS account and logged into that. तो आप पुराने वाले पे भी कर सकते हो लॉगिन अगर करना है. ठीक है,
okay,
कुछ नहीं है अगर आप उस पे मतलब इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी एवरी डे वी नीड टू क्रिएट राइट अ न्यू इंस्टेंस. वी विल क्रिएट न्यू इंस्टेंसेस एज पर आवर रिक्वायरमेंट्स.
Yeah, when I log into that instance and I open that, it gets just open as a command terminal.
Yes, definitely it should be. See, I am using Ubuntu.
Okay.
And I'm using our Ubuntu terminal. I'm not using window.
Okay.
So I'm not using putty so that I have a terminal window.
Okay, correct.
Okay, that's why you are seeing some difference. Last time I used different operating system. Today I'm using right Ubuntu operating.
Okay, yeah, fine.
Okay. Now, first of all, there are many editors in Unix world also, right? And the way Unix is evolving, their graphical user interface is also right getting better, and they have tools like gedit and all that to work on right while doing editing. But sometimes you do not get into you can say graphical user mode when you work in organization. You have to work into what the command mode, and that time right if you have to change certain file or something, if you're not comfortable with one of the command line editors, you will not feel yourself much powerful. It happens basically. And today generally in most of the cases we have to deal with it, right? So we should gain that right confidence in ourselves, and it's not that difficult to gain that. So I'm therefore I'm giving you one of the knowledge in one of editor called visual editor. We call it vi. We can use vim, which is advanced right editor over vi. So vi vim will work right seamlessly, something like same, but vim is right more featured you can say in some context. So for example I want to create a file. How I can create a file in Unix? Can anyone tell me?
mkdir.
Touch command.
Touch command.
mkdir is for what? Creating directory.
Directory.
For creating a file, yes, someone said touch command, right? So for example, say I did touch and I created a file called say test. Okay. So what does it will do?
It will create an empty file.
Why I got the permission denied? Can anyone tell me?
Sudo
Sudo.
No, I don't want कि मुझे sudo करना पड़े. मैं normal करना चाहता हूँ. EC2 user से
Presently,
समझता.
presently you are in varlog, so there is a only
Yes. So varlog जो है वो क्या है? Var किसका है? Generally admin और root access के लिए, right? तो मेरे को home directory जाना है तो मैं कैसे जाऊँगा? CD command से?
CD tilde.
Tilde, yes.
Yeah.
So CD tilde है. Tilde is representation of what? Home directory, right? So when I do CD tilde, I will directly line up to whatever my home directory is. My home directory is what? My username is EC2 user. So my home directory is what? Home EC2 user. Okay. So if I do this and if I do pwd, right? I am. Say I want to go back to varlog. How I will go there?
CD minus.
CD dash. So CD dash is what? To and fro movement between two working directories where you are working, right? Right. So say I went to varlog. If I again do CD dash, now I will go to what? Home EC2 user. Okay. So these are what this comes with what when you use Unix more, right? वो ऐसा नहीं है कि जो new है और इनको लग रहा है कि अरे ये क्या चीजें हैं, तो don't get bothered about that. It is about command vocabulary and how much you are practicing it and using it. That's the only thing. They are not something rocket science कि इसको समझने के लिए बहुत मेहनत करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. मैंने एक command list का documentation भी share किया हुआ है. List of some important commands, and for beginners I would say in a week take two popular commands, right? And slowly raise your command vocabulary, and once your command vocabulary is raised, now you become more proficient in scripting also. Shell scripting में अपने आप proficient हो जाओगे because of command knowledge. That's what there. Okay. Now I will jump directly to this. Now I will do touch. We are on the touch. Okay, touch test. So touch test क्या हुआ? इसने एक empty file बना दिया, है ना?
Yes.
करेक्ट. अब ये कब का बना हुआ है? 3 55 का, अभी डेट क्या हो रहा है देखते हैं डेट कमांड से, अभी भी 355 है। मान लो 356 हो जाता है, ठीक है, और मैं वापस से टच कमांड रन करता हूँ टेस्ट पे, सेम कमांड रन करता हूँ, तो क्या होगा?
It
I'll
will update the
overwrite.
time stat. Yes.
टाइम स्टैम्प भी मॉडिफाई करता है। मेरा बोलने का मतलब अगर एग्जिस्टिंग फाइल है और उस पर टच कमांड रन करोगे तो उसका टाइम स्टैम्प मॉडिफाई कर देता है, ठीक है। टच कमांड कैन डू टाइम स्टैम्प मॉडिफिकेशन आल्सो, इट्स नॉट ओनली यूज बिकॉज ऑफ जस्ट क्रिएटिंग एम्प्टी फाइल, राइट, देयर आर यूज केसेस ऑफ टच कमांड इन मेनी कंटेक्स्ट, ठीक है। तो एक तो ये है, और दूसरा ये भी तरीका हो सकता है, मैं वी करूँ और फाइल नेम दे दूँ, जैसे लर्निंग वी दिया, तो ये क्या करेगा, एक फाइल बनाएगा, बट जब तक मैं इसको सेव नहीं करूंगा ये फाइल क्रिएट नहीं होगी, है ना।
Yes.
तो वी एडिटर से मैं क्या करता हूँ, एक फाइल क्रिएट भी कर सकता हूँ और एक ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग फाइल को भी एडिट कर सकता हूँ। तो मैं मान लो मैं नया फाइल बना रहा हूँ और मैं इसके अंदर गया, ठीक है, तो मेरे को क्या मिल रहा है, ये वी एडिटर का कंसोल है ना, एरिया है जहाँ पे मैं काम कर सकता हूँ। इज इट क्लियर? अभी हम लोग क्या किया, वी के अंदर गए।
Yes.
वी में बेसिकली कितने मोड होते हैं, किसी को पता है?
3 modes.
3
Three
modes,
modes.
correct Tushar, yeah. So what are these
CS
3
modes.
modes?
एक तो command line
एक
या
तो
end user ये अपना exit mode रहता है, and then one is insert mode and other one is I don't remember that.
So let me tell you. First is insert mode, then is escape mode,
Yeah.
okay, and last one is a command mode, ठीक है। जनरली अगर आप देखोगे तो दो ही मोड के बारे में बात होती है, राइट, इंसर्ट मोड, राइट, और कमांड मोड के बारे में, बट escape mode is still very powerful, so I am talking about it, ठीक है। तो इंसर्ट मोड मींस हाउ यू विल गेट इनटू राइटिंग। अभी आप राइट नहीं कर सकते बाय डिफॉल्ट, जब आप वी करते हो तो आप किस मोड में रहते हो, आप escape मोड में रहते हो। कौन से मोड में रहते हो जब वी करते हो, escape मोड में, ठीक है। अगर आपको इंसर्ट मोड में जाना है तो बहुत बेसिक है, की है कॉल्ड आई प्रेस कर दो, ठीक है, मैं स्मॉल आई प्रेस कर रहा हूँ, मैं किस मोड में चला गया, देखो नीचे में इंसर्ट लिखा हुआ आ गया, यस और नो,
yes sir.
Yes.
Yes.
राइट। अभी नीचे में इंसर्ट आया, इसका मतलब मैं अब यहाँ पे टाइप कर सकता हूँ, कुछ लिख सकता हूँ, मैं लिख रहा हूँ, राइट, आई एम लर्निंग वी, ठीक है। अभी मैं इसको सेव कर देता हूँ। सेव करने के लिए मुझे कहाँ जाना पड़ेगा, पहले escape मोड में, तो आपको पहले की दबानी पड़ेगी, क्या, escape की दबाया, मैं escape मोड में चला गया। फिर मैं कमांड मोड में जाऊंगा, शिफ्ट कॉलन, देखो नीचे में कॉलन आ गया, शिफ्ट कॉलन एक साथ दबाना है, शिफ्ट कॉलन, तो किस में आ गया वो, कमांड मोड में, राइट। तो कॉलन इज नॉन एज कमांड मोड। हियर इफ आई वांट टू सेव माय फाइल, either I can use
W.
write and quit, right, W is write, Q is what, quit means
Good.
राइट करो और बाहर निकल जाओ, ठीक है। I can use
Saving
exclamation sign also if it is required, if I don't it's also fine, right. Sometimes for forceful write and quit execution we put, right, exclamation sign, okay. Now I enter. Now if you see ls minus ltr करता हूँ तो मेरे को एक learning vi फाइल भी दिख रही है जो मैंने बनाया है ना, ठीक है। इसको अगर cat करूंगा मैं तो इसमें क्या है, आई एम
details of
लर्निंग
the
vi जो मैंने
content.
लिखा, ठीक है। नाउ अगेन लेट मी डू vi लर्निंग vi मैंने खोला। अभी मैं किस मोड में हूँ,
Escape
Insert
mode.
escape mode.
escape मोड में हूँ, राइट, बाय डिफॉल्ट जब vi करते तो escape। अभी मुझे इंसर्ट करना है अबव दिस लाइन, इस लाइन के ऊपर मुझे इंसर्ट मोड में जाना है, नॉट ऑन द सेम। अगर मैं आई दबाऊंगा तो मैं किस मोड पे आऊंगा, इंसर्ट मोड इन प्लेस, जहां पे मेरा कर्सर है वहां पे जाऊंगा, बट मुझे इंसर्ट करना है इस लाइन के ऊपर में, तो कैसे करूंगा मैं, तो देयर इज अ की कॉल्ड व्हाट, कैपिटल ओ। तो कैपिटल ओ टाइप करोगे मतलब शिफ्ट ओ टाइप करोगे तो आप इंसर्ट मोड में चले जाओगे, बट आपका कर्सर कहाँ चला गया, ऊपर,
Super.
Above.
राइट। सो अबव द लाइन इंसर्ट मोड है ना, ठीक है। अभी मैं escape मोड दबाऊंगा तो मैं वापस से escape मोड में चले जाऊंगा, मैं escape की दबा रहा हूँ, इंसर्ट मोड से बाहर आ गया। अब मुझे इस लाइन के नीचे लिखना है तो मैं क्या करूंगा, स्मॉल ओ,
Small o.
ठीक है। अब यहाँ पे मैं लिख सकता हूँ स्मॉल ओ इज व्हाट, इंसर्ट मोड बिलो द लाइन, राइट। इररेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ द कर्सर पोजीशन आपको मेंटेन करने की जरूरत नहीं है, सिंपल स्मॉल ओ दबाया नीचे लाइन पे चले जाओगे इंसर्ट मोड में, ठीक है। तो ऑब्वियसली दिस आर द डिफरेंट वेज to get into you can say insert mode. Okay. Now, if I do this, I want to copy this line. I am learning VI. I am in escape mode right now. I had pressed escape key. And my cursor is in which line? I am learning VI. So I want to copy this line, right? And want to paste it, right? Below the top line. जो सबसे ऊपर वाली लाइन है उसके नीचे में मुझे ये कॉपी करना है. मतलब इसको इसका एक कॉपी करके वहां पे जाके करना है. तो मैं कैसे करूंगा? इसके लिए है yanking. क्या बोलते हैं? yanking. तो yanking कैसे होता है मैं आपको बता देता हूँ पहले. Insert mode में लिख के बता देता हूँ. Then I will copy for you, right? I am going into insert mode and I am giving you a description about what does yanking does. Yanking means what? Pressing 2 times what y. y है ना? इसको बोलते हैं हम yanking. जिस लाइन को आपको कॉपी करना है, right? Press this key in escape mode, right? Press y in escape mode on the line that you want to copy. Okay, and then take your cursor position to the line below that you want to write copy. For example, I'm going to escape mode and I came in this line. I am learning VI. I did YY. मैंने 2 बार YY प्रेस किया इस लाइन पे. मैं कर्सर ऊपर ले गया. सब escape मोड में कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है? And then I typed P. क्या हुआ? I am learning VI कहाँ पे आ गया? वहाँ पे आ गया. तो इसका मतलब क्या है? YY, right? Then P, है ना? YY के बाद जहाँ पे कॉपी करना है, तो YY is copying and P is what? Pasting. ठीक है? Now there is another thing. For example, मुझे ये जो लाइन, ये जो है ना, ये मेरा कर्सर यहाँ पे, मुझे यहाँ से 2 लाइन कॉपी करना है. ठीक है? ये दोनों लाइन कॉपी करना है और ये दोनों लाइन को कॉपी करके ऊपर में पेस्ट करना है, राइट? ये जो फर्स्ट लाइन है ना उसके नीचे कॉपी करना है ये 2 लाइन को. इंसर्ट मोड बिलो द लाइन, स्मॉल ओ वाला, और आई एम लर्निंग वी आई. तो मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा उस केस में? जहां पे भी आपका कर्सर पोजीशन है और जितने लाइन आपको कॉपी करने हैं, ठीक है? लेट मी राइट बिलो. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आई वांट टू कॉपी 2 लाइंस फ्रॉम द कर्सर पोजीशन, सो 2 YY, राइट? एंड देन व्हाट? P टू द कर्सर पोजीशन जहां पे आपको पेस्ट करना है. तो मैं अभी प्रैक्टिकल करता हूं इसको. मेरा कर्सर पोजीशन यहाँ पे है, ठीक है? अब मैं यहाँ पे क्या प्रेस करूंगा? कोई पूछ रहा है कुछ क्वेश्चन? एनीवन आस्किंग समथिंग? ओके, नो. तो मैंने अभी कर्सर पोजीशन रखा है इस लाइन पे, राइट? ओ कॉलन इंसर्ट मोड. यहाँ से मेरे को 2 लाइन कॉपी करना है. तो मैं क्या करूंगा? 2 YY. मैं अभी टाइप कर रहा हूँ 2 देन YY. मैंने 2 लाइन कॉपी कर लिया, ठीक है? अभी मैं जाऊंगा अपना कर्सर पोजीशन ओ के ऊपर लेके, यहाँ पे मैं टाइप करूंगा P. देखो दोनों लाइन कॉपी होके आ गया है ना? ये दोनों जो मैंने 2 YY से किया, ये दोनों कॉपी हो गया है, ठीक है? नाउ अनदर थिंग, मैं इस लाइन को 10 टाइम्स कॉपी करना चाहता हूँ. किस लाइन को? आई एम लर्निंग VI को, राइट? इसके नीचे 10 टाइम्स कॉपी करना चाहता हूँ, इसी के नीचे. तो मैं क्या करूंगा? इसके लिए जो फॉर्मूला है वो ये है, कॉपिंग अ लाइन, a single line YY, and then n represent what number, how many times you want to copy. For example, n means here for me 10 times, so I will press what? 10, right? And then what? P. Then it will copy it how many times? 10 times. So n is nothing but the n has a value of 10. तो अभी मैं यहाँ पे अपना कर्सर लेके गया, escape मोड में जा रहा हूँ मैं. मैंने पहले YY प्रेस किया, ठीक है? मैंने YY करके उस लाइन को कॉपी किया, सिंगल लाइन को ना, क्योंकि मैंने एक बार YY किया ना. अभी मैं 10 टाइप कर रहा हूँ, 10, मैंने 10 लिखा, ठीक है? 10 मतलब 10 टाइम्स मुझे कॉपी करना. एंड देन आई एम प्रेसिंग P एंड यू विल सी, राइट? 10 lines had come here, right? From here to here, how many lines? 10 times it has been copied. Is it clear?
I have a question over here.
Please.
जो 2YYP 2YY जो command है, that is for copying 2 lines, right? So
Yes.
is it applicable up to 10 or it is just restricted to 2?
No, it is. This is 2 is again a n, right? The value of n could be changed, right? It's a
Okay,
variable.
so
It
if
could be
I
2,
do
it could be 5.
10 YY, then also it will paste 10 lines,
Yes.
right?
For example, I take my cursor position at the top, right? In escape mode. मेरा cursor position देखो सबसे ऊपर में है अभी, है ना? सबसे ऊपर में, और मैं यहाँ से फॉर एग्जांपल 10 लाइन कॉपी करना चाहता हूँ, ठीक है, 10 लाइंस, तो मैं क्या करूँगा यहाँ पे 10 YY, मैंने 10 लाइन कॉपी कर लिया, ठीक है, 10 YY मीन्स 10 लाइंस कॉपीड। अब मैं सबसे नीचे लेके जा रहा हूँ यहाँ पे, चलो इस वाले लाइन पे YYN 10P है जो ना, उसके नीचे लेके जा रहा हूँ, यहाँ पे मैं वो 10 लाइन जो मैंने कॉपी की इसको पेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ, तो मैं टाइप करता हूँ P, देखो वो 10 लाइंस कॉपी हो गया आगे, करेक्ट,
Yes.
ओके, इट्स क्लियर, राइट?
Yes.
सो फाइनल फार्मूला इज व्हाट, अगर फाइनल फार्मूला देखोगे तो ये है इंसर्ट NYY NP, है ना, मतलब आप n नंबर ऑफ लाइंस कॉपी कर सकते हो और उसको n टाइम्स प्रिंट कर सकते हो, ओके, ठीक है। So this will come how? This will come when you will make your hands dirty with it, है ना। तो मैंने ये सेशन ऑलरेडी डाला हुआ है वीडियो में, आप वहाँ पे जाके देखोगे तो आप इसको रिविजिट करके प्रैक्टिस करो वीआई में जाके। शुरू में वीआई बहुत क्लमजी लग सकता है इनिशियली, राइट, those who had used laptop first time or any desktop first time in their life, right, generation like us, right, had very difficult time managing the mouse initially, right, but अभी we are very comfortable, right, with mouse। यही चीज है, प्रैक्टिस करोगे हो जाएगा, ठीक है, कोई बड़ी चीज नहीं है। नाउ escape मोड में हमने ये चीज सीखा कि इसको बोलते हैं कॉपी पेस्ट इन वीआई। सिमिलरली अगर आपको कट पेस्ट करना है तो सेम फॉर्मूला ही है, बस आपको क्या करना है, वाई वाई की जगह क्या करना है, डी कर देना है, ठीक है, हाँ, सो एन डी डी एन पी, यही फॉर्मूला लगेगा। फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैं यहाँ से 10 लाइन डिलीट करना चाहता हूँ, ठीक है, मेरा कर्सर पोजीशन पता है ना कहाँ है, अभी मैं इंसर्ट मोड में नहीं होना चाहिए, एस्केप मोड में होना चाहिए, और मेरा जो कर्सर पोजीशन यहाँ से मेरे को 10 लाइन डिलीट करना है, तो मैं क्या करूँगा 10 डी। तो अगर मैं इसके बाद कोई एक्शन नहीं लूंगा, इसका मतलब क्या हो गया, ये हार्ड डिलीट, बट अभी भी मेमोरी में जो मैंने डिलीट किया है वो सेव है। अगर मैं चाहता हूँ उसको यूज करना, मैंने डी के बाद उसको यूज करना, मैं चाहता हूँ इसके नीचे, राइट, वो 10 लाइन जो मैंने डिलीट किए पेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ, तो मैं यहाँ पे अगर पी दबाऊंगा तो 10 लाइन जो मैंने डिलीट किए थे वो बफर में थे, वो यहाँ पे मैंने यूज कर लिए। इज इट क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now another thing which is very useful in VI, sometimes you have to debug something in log, है ना, आपको log में कुछ डिबग करना है या सर्च करना है, तो अगर आप सर्च में कंफर्टेबल नहीं हो तो समटाइम इट हैपेंस व्हाट, यू मेक सर्टेन मिस्टेक्स, राइट, और कुछ मतलब फटाफट काम नहीं होता है, यू विल टेक सम टाइम। सो आई विल टेल यू अबाउट सर्च ऑपरेशन फ्रॉम बिलो द फाइल और टॉप ऑफ द फाइल, दोनों तरीके से कैसे कर सकते हैं। So for example, I am going to write something like this, so I will want to give you some examples. So I am adding one more word called learning or learn in capital and another learn in all capital, ठीक है, मैं ये लिखा है और इसको मैं से 100 टाइम्स वो करता हूँ, राइट कर देता हूँ, राइट। सो आई विल escape मोड, आई विल डू YY एंड 100P, ओके, तो ये लाइन 100 टाइम्स मैंने राइट कर दी, ठीक है। सबसे पहले मेरे को बॉटम ऑफ द फाइल जाना है VI में, अगर आई वांट टू गो टू द एंड ऑफ द फाइल, द शॉर्टकट इज व्हाट, शिफ्ट जी, परफेक्ट, शिफ्ट जी। सो देखो शिफ्ट जी किया, मैं सबसे नीचे चला गया, है ना। अगर मुझे टॉप ऑफ फर्स्ट लाइन पे जाना है तो अपने को कमांड मोड यूज करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है। कमांड मोड कैसे जाते हैं, कमांड मोड में कोई बताएगा, एस्केप की देन शिफ्ट कॉलन, है ना, शिफ्ट कॉलन एंड देन व्हाट, लाइन नंबर, मैं 1 लाइन पे जाना चाहता हूँ, मतलब अगर आपको 5th लाइन में जाना है तो आपको कॉलन के बाद क्या टाइप करना है, 5, अगर आपको 10th लाइन में जाना है तो 10, तो मैं भी देखो टॉप ऑफ द लाइन में आ गया, ठीक है। तो टॉप और बिलो मूवमेंट तो आपको समझ में आ गया। अभी मान लो मुझे टॉप से सर्च करना है, राइट, कैपिटल लर्न, राइट, तो मैं कैसे सर्च करूंगा, एस्केप मोड में होने चाहिए आप VI में, देन यू हैव टू टाइप व्हाट, दिस स्लैश, देखो स्लैश टाइप किया तो नीचे में स्लैश लिखा हुआ आ गया, दिख रहा है आपको एवरीवन?
Yes.
अभी मैं यहाँ पे मेरा सर्च स्ट्रिंग टाइप करूंगा, मैं कैपिटल लर्न सर्च करना चाहता हूँ, राइट, मैंने एंटर किया, ये टाइप करने का एंटर किया, मेरा कर्सर कहाँ चला गया, जहाँ पे पहला अकरेंस आया लर्न का, करेक्ट। अभी मैं एन टाइप कर रहा हूँ, स्मॉल एन, ये क्या हुआ, नेक्स्ट पे चला गया, नेक्स्ट नेक्स्ट नेक्स्ट। अभी मेरे को पीछे जाना है, कैसे जाऊंगा, अभी मैं गलती से आगे आ गया, कैपिटल एन, कैपिटल एन, ठीक है। अभी देखो कैपिटल एन कर रहा हूं मैं, तो एक चीज ऑब्जर्व करना, नीचे में कुछ चेंज हुआ, सबसे नीचे में जहां पे हम सर्च कर रहे थे स्ट्रिंग को,
क्वेश्चन
स्लैश,
मार्क,
स्लैश किस में कन्वर्ट हो गया, क्वेश्चन मार्क
क्वेश्चन।
में। मतलब अगर आपको बॉटम टू आप सर्च करना है तो आपको क्या यूज करना चाहिए, कैरेक्टर क्वेश्चन मार्क इंस्टेड ऑफ स्लैश, ठीक है। वो देखते हैं, ये क्लियर हुआ पहले, राइट। मूवमेंट टू एंड फ्रो, ऊपर नीचे करने के लिए एन नीचे जाएगा अगर स्लैश से सर्च किया है तो, है ना। और कैपिटल एन क्या करेगा, उसको रिवर्स कर देगा, मतलब अपोजिट। सेम थिंग, लेट्स डू व्हाट इन एस्केप मोड, लेट मी गो टू द बॉटम ऑफ द फाइल, शिफ्ट जी, मैं सबसे नीचे चला गया लाइन के, ठीक है। अब मुझे नीचे से ऊपर सर्च करना है, तो मैं क्या करूंगा, सबसे पहले कौन सा कैरेक्टर टाइप करूंगा, क्वेश्चन मार्क, है ना। यहाँ पे मैं क्या डालूंगा, मेरा सर्च स्ट्रिंग, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई वॉन्ट टू सर्च कैपिटलाइज्ड लर्न, ठीक है, मैं ये सर्च करना चाहता हूँ। मैंने इंटर किया, अभी देखो मेरा पहला सर्च आकर्षण नीचे से ऊपर जा रहा है ना। अभी मैं स्मॉल एन टाइप करूंगा, कहाँ जाएगा, ऊपर ऊपर जा रहा है, करेक्ट और नॉट, हेलो, यस और नो, समझ में आ रहा है।
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
अभी मैं इसको रिवर्स करूंगा तो मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा, शिफ्ट एन, कैपिटल
Capital
एन।
N.
अभी देखो क्या नीचे
Capital
नीचे में
N.
देखो क्वेश्चन मार्क किस में चेंज हो गया, स्लैश में चेंज हो गया, है ना। स्मॉल एन करूंगा, वापस से क्वेश्चन मार्क में आ गया, है ना। मेक सेंस।
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
नाउ आई वांट टू मेक अ केस इनसेंसिटिव सर्च। अभी क्या हो रहा है, मैं जब कैपिटलाइज लर्न कर रहा हूँ, कैपिटलाइज लर्न को ही सेट कर रहा है। मैं चाहता हूँ जहां पे भी लर्न आए, राइट, उसको सर्च करना है। तो मैं क्वेश्चन, वापस से क्वेश्चन मार्क करता हूँ, और मैंने ये लर्न किया, और यहाँ पे स्लैश सी लगा दिया। क्या था, स्लैश सी, इसका मतलब क्या है, केस इनसेंसिटिव सर्च, मतलब सेंसिटिव नहीं है केस को लेके। अभी मैं एंटर किया, ठीक है, इस लर्न को इसने सेलेक्ट किया, फिर मैं नेक्स्ट करूंगा, देखो ये कैपिटल, फिर इसको, सबको सर्च कर रहा है ना, जहां जहां उसको लर्न मिल रहा है, सिर्फ एक पे ही
Yes.
नहीं है। तो दिस इज व्हाट, केस इनसेंसिटिव सर्च। सो समटाइम, कई बार होता है फाइल में एरर स्मॉल हो सकता है, कैपिटल एरर हो सकता है, कैपिटलाइज हो सकता है ना, लॉग फाइल्स में। तो यू कैन डू राइट केस इनसेंसिटिव, टॉप टू बॉटम कर सकते हो आप, बॉटम टू टॉप कर सकते हो। इज दिस क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Clear.
Okay. Now I will go to command mode, and why we call it command mode उसके बारे में समझते हैं, ठीक है। तो कमांड मोड में कैसे जाते हैं, escape shift colon, है ना।
Shift call.
कमांड मोड को इसलिए कमांड बोलते हैं कमांड मोड, क्योंकि हम इसमें कमांड एग्जीक्यूट कर सकते हैं। बीइंग इन वी वी कैन रन कमांड, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई कैन डू एक्सक्लेमेशन एंड डू ls-ltr here। देखो मेरे को क्या दे रहा है, फाइल का आउटपुट दे रहा है ना, टेस्ट और लर्न वी है मेरे पास, दो फाइल। इंटर करूंगा, वापस से वी पे आ गया। सो वी कैन एग्जीक्यूट व्हाट, कमांड्स बीइंग इनसाइड वी, है ना। क्या है, शिफ्ट कॉलन, कमांड मोड में जाओ, एक्सक्लेमेशन कमांड। फॉर एग्जांपल इफ आई वांट टू कैट राइट दिस लर्निंग वी, मैं फाइल के अंदर इसी फाइल को कैट कर रहा हूँ जो जिस फाइल में मैं हूँ। देखो इसने क्या, तो इसने क्या बोला, नो राइट सिंस लास्ट चेंज आई एम लर्निंग वी, इसीलिए उसने उसका आउटपुट नहीं दिया। वही अगर कोई दूसरा फाइल होता तो मेरे को आउटपुट मिल जाता। मतलब जो पहली बार हमने जो फाइल बनाया था उसका सेव नहीं किया ना, तो पहला कंटेंट क्या था, आई एम लर्निंग वी, वही दिखा रहा है, जो लास्ट सेव कंटेंट है वो दिखा रहा है, ठीक है। इज इट क्लियर? एक तो ये चीज बहुत यूजफुल चीज है। कई बार क्या होता है, हम कुछ कमांड एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए क्या करते हैं, वी से बाहर जाते हैं, है ना, सेव करके या विदाउट सेव करके। इससे अच्छा अगर आपको टाइम सेव करना है, आपको बाहर नहीं जाना है, वी में रहना है, तो आप इसके अंदर रह के कमांड रन कर सकते हैं, ठीक है।
Just we have to write exclamation and we have to put the
यस
command.
यस यस यस, ठीक है। एक तो ये हो गया। दूसरा जो चीज है वो क्या है, कमांड मोड में जाके आप sh, दिस इज ऑल्सो कमांड राइट दैट यू कैन टाइप। तो आपको क्या करेगा, वो एक टेम्पररी शेल देगा। टेम्पररी शेल में जाके आप कुछ भी कर सकते हो। आपने कुछ काम किया राइट, ls-ltr जो फाइल कहीं से कॉपी करनी थी वो किया, एंड आफ्टर दैट इफ यू एग्जिट दिस टेम्पररी शेल यू विल गेट बैक टू द सेम vi वेयर यू आर वर्किंग, ठीक है। तो ये भी एक यूजफुल चीज है, ठीक है, इसको भी आप यूज कर सकते हो। दूसरा, सर्च एंड रिप्लेस ऑपरेशन। व्हाट, सर्च एंड रिप्लेस ऑपरेशन विच हैपेंस इन कमांड मोड। फॉर एग्जांपल मुझे लर्न को यूनिक्स में चेंज करना है, ठीक है, तो मैं क्या करूंगा, परसेंटेज s string that I want to change. For example, I want to change capital learn and I want to change it to what, say Unix, right? So I did Unix and entered this, and मैंने enter किया तो क्या हुआ, जितने कैपिटल लर्न थे वो क्या हो गए, यूनिक्स हो गए, है ना। देखो right? Say I want to undo this. Undo करना है तो कैसे करोगे? Type small u. Small u करोगे क्या हो जाएगा? Undo हो जाएगा. Now another thing, for example, I have this. I have this repetition of a word, right, in a line. Okay, and I go to command mode and try to replace again. अभी मैं क्या करता हूँ, अगर मैं ये है मैं वापस से टाइप नहीं करना चाहता तो अप एरो यूज कर सकता हूँ कमांड मोड में, तो जो मैंने पहले टाइप किया वो आ जाएगा. ठीक है, यू डोंट नीड टू डू अ हार्ड वर्क ऑफ रीराइटिंग, है ना. मैंने ये किया, वापस से मैं लर्न को यूनिक्स में चेंज कर रहा हूँ. नाउ यू वुड ऑब्जर्व वन थिंग, ये देखो लर्न तो यूनिक्स में चेंज हुआ, तो ये वाला देखो यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, एक लर्न हुआ दूसरा लर्न चेंज नहीं हुआ, है ना, है ना. One learn has changed but another. So this is what you have to understand. It doesn't mean it will replace everything when you use command search and replace command like this. But if you want a global change कि इस जिस लाइन में multiple occurrences सबको change करे तो उसके लिए आपको global flag लगाना पड़ेगा. I am doing undo again, right? I am going to command mode again and I am going to do right change. For example, place the flag called G मीन्स ग्लोबल. अगर एक लाइन में मल्टीपल अकरेंस है और सबको चेंज करना है तो मैं /g यूज करूंगा. अभी मैं एंटर करूंगा और अभी मैं जाता हूँ सबसे ऊपर में जहाँ पे मल्टीपल लर्न यूज किए थे. या सी बोथ लर्न हैज बीन चेंज टू यूनिक्स. हेलो, यस और नो?
Yes.
Yes,
So I have
yes.
a question over here.
Yes.
Please.
Can we do the search and replace for case insensitive alphabets?
Yes, that is what I was going to convey after this. ठीक है, I am going to undo it. मैं वही बताने वाला ही था. अच्छा वो आपने मतलब वो क्वेश्चन भी पूछा. गुड. अभी देखो ये अगर केस इंसेंसिटिव करना है तो आपको क्या फ्लैग यूज करना है? I is what? Case insensitive, right? So wherever it will find learn, it will change it to what? Unix, whether it's a capitalized, whether it's all capital or small, right? Enter. See.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But just before sometime you have used that /c for case insensitive.
That is in escape mode.
Okay.
For search operation. It is used for what? Search operation.
Okay.
तो उसका implementation अलग है, इसका implementation अलग है. ठीक है? Search and replace का. But these are few things. If you practice them, if you get inside VI, right, you will feel very comfortable in dealing with VI related stuff. There are many other shortcuts which I have not right mentioned here, like small x, okay, what it does, right? There are many other, right, replace word wx, right? So many replace word and get into insert mode. So there are many things which I have mentioned in other video. This is just to get you right, get along, right? I took this VI session कि आप थोड़ा सा कंफर्टेबल हो. अगर मैं कुछ वीआई पे कर रहा हूँ और चेंज कर रहा हूँ और आप भी कर रहे हो पैरेलली प्रैक्टिस करने के लिए साथ में, तो यू विल नॉट फेस राइट दैट स्लोनेस इन यू, बट इट कम्स विथ सम प्रैक्टिस डेफिनेटली. ठीक है. So I'm coming out of this, saving it for a while, right? Now I'm going to talk about a bit right some programmatic context and think like that it is applicable to each and every programming language, not only about shell script. Okay, think in that context when you are right listening, and when I'm showing you something you have to think in that. In Python you will see right same thing I will explain, but the syntactically it would be different, but everything would be same. Now I will talk about variables, and I know everyone know. Yes, please.
अभी जो फाइल क्रिएट की थी टच कमांड से टेस्ट, उसका एक्सटेंशन क्या होगा?
See in Unix generally extensions अगर आप दो या ना दो से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. ठीक है, पहली बात तो ये है. हम एक्सटेंशन क्यों देते हैं? हम एक्सटेंशन इसलिए देते हैं कि हमें समझ में आए कि वो क्या है, वो जो फाइल है वो क्या है. अभी जो मैंने लर्निंग वी लिखा है ये एक ASCII टेस्ट फाइल ही है. ठीक है, और जनरली यूनिक्स में हम कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं? फाइल कमांड है. अगर आप ये फाइल कमांड इस फाइल पे डाल दोगे, अगर आपको पता नहीं है, किसी ने एक्सटेंशन नहीं डाला और आपको पता नहीं क्या फाइल है, डाटा फाइल है, बाइनरी फाइल है, तो फाइल कमांड यूज करो तो आपको बता देगा. तो ये बोल रहा है ASCII टेक्स्ट फाइल है. ठीक है, अगर मैं पाइथन का स्क्रिप्ट लिख रहा हूँ राइट, तो मैं जनरली अगर .py नहीं दूंगा उस पर, इसका मतलब नहीं कि मैं उसको एग्जीक्यूट नहीं कर सकता, या .sh नहीं दूंगा इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो शेल स्क्रिप्ट नहीं है, वो हो सकता है शेल स्क्रिप्ट राइट. बट जनरली आई हैव नॉट गिवन द एक्सटेंशन। बट एक्सटेंशंस देने से फायदा क्या होता है, आगे वाले को पता चलता है कि टाइप ऑफ फाइल क्या है या क्या है। तो यूनिक्स में ऐसा कोई हार्ड वो नहीं है कि आपको एक्सटेंशन देना जरूरी है, ठीक है? इट्स क्लियर?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I will talk about variable. Can anyone tell me? मतलब हमने mathematics, arithmetic करते वक्त variables काफी use किया. Obviously, we know what variable is, right? Which changes, है ना? The value of an entity which changes, that is called variables. We have so many variables in our life, right? Things changes, right, for us. तो वही प्रोग्रामेटिक कंटेक्स्ट में हम बात करते हैं ना। बट वेरिएबल का भी ना उन्होंने क्या क्या है, ब्रेक डाउन किया है ना। तो वेरी ब्रॉडर ब्रेक डाउन क्या है वेरिएबल का, कोई बताएगा? अगर मैथमेटिक्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से सोचो, वेरिएबल आइदर तो स्केलर नेचर का होता है या वेक्टर नेचर का होता है ना। स्केलर का मतलब क्या है, मैंने उसमें जो वैल्यू स्टोर कर दी उसका मैग्नीट्यूड वही रहने वाला है जब तक मैं उसको चेंज ना करूं, है ना। इट विल नॉट चेंज until unless I go and change. So that is the scalar nature. अगर मैंने वेरिएबल में वैल्यू 10 डाल दिया, फॉर एग्जांपल इन यूनिक्स व्हेन आई डिफाइन अ वेरिएबल, से फॉर एग्जांपल x में एक वेरिएबल डिफाइन कर रहा हूँ, एंड रिमेंबर यहाँ पे व्हाइट स्पेस डाल के नहीं डालते। जब आप शेल स्क्रिप्ट लिखते हो ना तो वेरिएबल ऐसे डिफाइन करोगे तो गलत है, ठीक है। यहाँ पे क्या होता है, बहुत स्पेस सेंसिटिव है, तो आपको ऐसे डिफाइन करना पड़ता है विदाउट स्पेस, असाइनमेंट ऑपरेटर, ठीक है ना। मैंने x को 10 डाला तो x की वैल्यू क्या हो गई, एक स्केलर वैल्यू है, मैंने डाल दी। अभी मैं जब इसको इंटरपोलेट करूंगा, इसमें से वैल्यू निकालूंगा, तो x में x एड्रेस, x का जिस एड्रेस पे ये वेरिएबल का जो एड्रेस स्टोर है उसके अंदर एक वैल्यू 10 स्टोर है, उसको फेच करेगा, है ना। ये यही मीनिंग है। तो ये स्केलर नेचर है, तो स्केलर स्ट्रिंग हो सकता है, डेसिमल हो सकता है, बट वो एक फिक्स्ड वैल्यू है, राइट। बट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट अ वेक्टर, it talks in terms where that it, right, with direction the magnitude changes. जैसे जैसे डायरेक्शन चेंज होगा आपका क्या होगा, मैग्नीट्यूड चेंज होगा, है ना, वैल्यू चेंज होगा। तो एक लिस्ट को आइडेंटिफाई करो, जो लिस्ट एक तरह का वेरिएबल है। तो लिस्ट में क्या होता है, जैसे जैसे इंडेक्स की वैल्यू चेंज होती है ना, इंडेक्स चेंज होता है, उसकी वैल्यू क्या होती है, चेंज हो सकती है। यस और नो?
Yes.
Right, so obviously this is the classification. So variable are, right, as per the magnitude and direction, right, as per the direction magnitude change, such variables are vector. For example, key value पेयर में अगर कुछ स्टोर करते हो, है ना, तो वो भी क्या है, एक तरह का वेक्टर वेरिएबल ही है ना, कि की चेंज होगा तो उसकी वैल्यू चेंज होगी, है ना। Now let's see, first understand this, right, interpolation. जैसे मैंने x equal to 10 डिफाइन किया, मैं वैल्यू फेच करना चाहता हूँ, तो मैं कैसे करूंगा, तो यूनिक्स में कमांड है echo, right, to interpolate, to display also. तो मैं अगर बोलूंगा echo $x, तो क्या देगा मैं मुझे,
वैल्यू
10 देगा, ठीक है। अगर मैं बोलूंगा echo डबल कोट्स $x, ठीक है, तो क्या देगा, डबल कोट्स भी 10 देगा, ठीक है। कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, डबल कोट्स में भी इंटरपोलेशन होता है, विदाउट डबल कोट भी होता है, बट इन सिंगल कोट इन शेल स्क्रिप्ट इंटरपोलेशन डजंट हैपन, इट विल डिस्प्ले एज इट इज,
सेम, यस सर,
है ना, राइट। ये सब चीजें क्या, इंटरपोलेशन कंसेप्ट है, हर प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज का डिफरेंट हो सकता है, बट मैं एक वैल्यू निकाल रहा हूँ। जनरली इको का पर्पस क्या है, इको होता है किस लिए, डिस्प्ले करने के लिए, जैसे hi everyone या hi all, right, तो I am displaying this hi all सबको ना, तो ये मैंने डिस्प्ले किया, है ना। hi all, I have defined x with value, right, what, $x, है ना। तो मैंने एक सेंटेंस में लिख के दिया और मैंने बोला I have defined x with value 10। तो ऑब्वियसली echo मैं इस पर्पस से यूज कर रहा हूँ। नाउ अनदर थिंग इन echo कमांड दैट आई वांट टू शो यू, अगर मैं echo यूज करता हूँ और echo में ही एक चेंज करता हूँ, अभी देखो echo में एक फ्लैग यूज करता हूँ जिसका नाम है -n, क्या हुआ, क्या फर्क हुआ ऊपर के आउटपुट में और -n लगाने के बाद,
न्यू लाइन कंप्रेस,
-n क्या करता है, न्यू लाइन जो कैरेज रिटर्न जो है आउटपुट में है उसको क्या कर देता है, हटा देता है ना। तो देखो यहाँ पे आउटपुट तो मुझे मिला, बट इसके आगे न्यू लाइन कैरेक्टर नहीं था, इसलिए मेरा प्रॉम्प्ट कहाँ से स्टार्ट हुआ, जहां से मेरा आउटपुट खत्म हुआ वहीं से मेरा प्रॉम्प्ट स्टार्ट हो गया, है ना। तो -n सप्रेस करता है किसको, राइट, आउटपुट के कैरेज रिटर्न को या न्यू लाइन कैरेक्टर जो भी डालता है, जो हिडन है, जो दिखता नहीं है। इज इट क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now another option is which is generally used, right? We should be aware with echo -e. So -e में क्या होता है, अगर I want to give something like this /n, right? तो ये जो escape characters है उनको read करने के लिए, ठीक है? And here, for example, I want to give /t, that is tab, right? Now if I enter, so see, hi all, it came into a new line character, है ना? /n new line पे है, and then a tab is also entered, जो $x के बीच में एक tab character भी है जो मैंने वहाँ पे डाला, ठीक है? So obviously sometimes you want to change color of your fonts, right, or whatever characters. So there are escape characters for colors which are defined, right? You can use with -e option. तो कलर कोड आपको मिल जाएंगे escape वाले ना, /033 and all that. तो आप उसे कलर भी चेंज कर सकते हो, ये मतलब -e के साथ कर सकते हो. So any question so far in this part, echo command understanding, और अभी जो हमने variable define किया और उसको interpolation किया. Is it clear, right? So now I will jump into that list definition in Unix, right? तो मैंने x को ही मैं list बना देता हूँ अभी, right? तो obviously मैं white space नहीं दे सकता ना, तो मैं ऐसे लिखता हूँ. Can anyone tell me the definition of list? Hello, what is definition of list? It is a collection of heterogeneous objects, right, which are ordered as per what index value. So main context क्या है, लोग का definition कई बार right programmatic way में रहता है, कई बार बोलते हैं it should be very uniform. अगर मैं list define कर रहा हूँ तो वो या तो numbers का होना चाहिए या तो strings का होना चाहिए, है ना? वो Java बोलता है array of string, right, array of numbers, right? इस तरीके से बात होता है वहाँ पे. But in general context, it is not the definition of list. Is a collection of heterogeneous object, है ना? हम डाल सकते हैं उसमें, अभी जैसे मैं डाल रहा हूँ, राइट? मैंने एक स्ट्रिंग डाला, एक डेसिमल भी डाल देता हूँ, राइट? तो मैं डेफिनेशन ऐसा डिफाइन कर सकता हूँ. ये मैंने एक लिस्ट बनाया. अभी ये बताओ, मैं अगर इको $x करूंगा तो क्या मिलेगा मुझे? Anyone?
Print the entire list.
No. In this
तो
case क्या होगा? वो हाई प्रिंट करेगा, राइट? वो क्या पहला वैल्यू उठा के दे देता है, ठीक है? बट दिस इज शुड नॉट बी द आउटपुट, राइट? जैसे आपने बोला पूरा देना चाहिए, बट ऑब्वियसली द इंटरपोलेशन ऑफ लिस्ट वेरिएबल इन यूनिक्स नीड सर्टेन, राइट, सिंटैक्टिकल इंफॉर्मेशन. सो कैसे करेंगे अगर मुझे पूरा का पूरा लिस्ट चाहिए? डॉलर कर्ली ब्रेसेस योर वेरिएबल नेम, देन बिग ब्रैकेट स्टार, राइट, बिग ब्रैकेट क्लोज्ड कर्ली ब्रेसेस. अगर आप ऐसे करोगे तो आपको क्या देगा? पूरा का पूरा लिस्ट देगा. लेकिन अगर मुझे फर्स्ट इंडेक्स का वैल्यू चाहिए तो इसी सिंटेक्स में यहाँ पे बिग ब्रैकेट स्टार लिखा है, यहाँ पे अगर मैं 1 लिखूंगा तो फर्स्ट इंडेक्स का वैल्यू देगा, है ना? तो मैं आई कैन फेच, राइट, एज पर द इंडेक्स वैल्यू, राइट, आई कैन फेच द वैल्यू. अगर 0th इंडेक्स का है, ऑब्वियसली मेरे कितने हैं? 3 वैल्यूज ना, मैक्सिमम राइट इंडेक्स 2 हो सकता है, तो ये मैं ऐसे फेच कर सकता हूँ. तो दिस इज व्हाट द सिंटेक्स दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, राइट, इन टर्म्स ऑफ dealing with list in, right, shell script. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now I will explain you how to write a very basic shell script and execute it. So so that when you will go through entire course of Unix, right, parallelly, then you will correlate it with, right? So I'm just taking you to that context, and after that I will move to, right, a different topic, right? So I will not spend much time on Unix because I don't want to waste a time which can be self-learned, right? It is not a big challenge, but yes, I would be there if any topic, anything, right, when you are learning and you have a challenge, ping me, call me, right? I will guide you, right, wherever your gap or understanding gap is there. So for that I would be able. Okay. Now I'm going to write a very basic shell script, and let me tell you with certain command knowledge how you can achieve it. For example, I want to write an interactive program in which I want to ask user a name and ask his profession, and then, right, I want to give him right, onboarding or something like details that he has given to me, a form based script that I'm going to write. For that we need to understand certain commands. For example, there is a command called read. So read does what? Takes input from user. For example, if I take read minus p, right, and say, what is your name? And after that, this minus p is what a statement that will be printed to user. And after that, the variable in which I want to store the value that user will be inputting using, right? So my variable name say is name, right? So if I do this, so see, it is displaying me what is your name. And say, for example, if I write Deepak. So obviously the name variable which I have defined has a value now, Deepak. So if I do echo $name, what it is giving me? Deepak, right? So I can, in that way, I can ask user some details, right? Okay, so I will be using some echo command, read command, right? And I will also talk about command substitution. So how to execute command in script and store it in a variable, right? That I'm going to pass it to you. So I'm writing vi, right? Say onboarding, right? .sh, and I'm going to write a program. So obviously I would use a cbang line first. So bin bash. So it's a bash script. Okay, and I'm going to take some certain input from users. Say for example, read minus p, first name, and variable name say fn. Okay, say yy, I will copy it 3 times. Okay, and here I will say last name. Okay, here I will say organization, so I will be using org. Say org is a variable, right? And org, and then say address, yeah, location, whatever, and give a variable name called loc. That is variable that I have defined. So read command needs a variable to store the value. Okay, so fn, ln, org, lock, right? These are my variables that I am defining and taking input from user. And say for example, I want to get detail of operating system that I'm using, maybe, right? So OS is my variable, and inside that I want to get an output, right, of a command which will give me the details of operating system. So I will use, this is called command substitution, dollar round bracket. If you use a command called uname, right, and minus o option, if you run this command uname minus o, right, it will give you what operating system that you are using, and I'm storing it in OS. And if I want to store a memory detail, so mem, I'm creating a variable called mem, and I'm executing a command called free. Free is a Unix command, right, which gives the memory detail free minus m, and I'm storing here. So I have taken all the inputs, right, that I want to pass for, right, welcoming a user and, right, giving him details, some details about his system, maybe, right, that I am writing. Now here I can start my program echo. So first of all, I will welcoming that user. Welcome, right, Mr. Which variable? Fn, right? That is the first name. So dollar $fn, dollar $ln, right? To organization, or directly I can use variable dot org. Okay, this is my first statement. Second statement, echo. We have transport, right, facility from your location, and I can give the location, right? And after that I can say, right, system details, your system details, okay, and I can write echo OS colon what, dollar OS right? And echo colon memory details, okay, colon, I will use slash in here, okay, and then I will use $mem, that is the variable that I have defined as a command substitution out there, right? And here, since I'm using slash n, I will be using minus e, okay, and I can write echo program completed, something like that, right? Okay, so this is right, a few line script, right? In a sequential order, the command will execute in script, right? First, it will take user input. It will ask for first name, last name, or location. Then I'm executing a command. So syntax is dollar round bracket. Inside that, the whatever command you're going to execute, the output of this command, right, will not be displayed directly, but will be stored in variable called OS. Similar for memory. And then I'm using all those variables that I have defined, right, in echo statement to display the details, right? So this is a very basic program. So I saved it, this file. Now, first of all, if you see the executable permission to this file is not there, ना? अगर onboarding.sh को देखोगे तो सिर्फ read write permission executable नहीं है. अगर मैं इसको ./onboarding करके रन करूंगा, हाँ, तो क्या होगा, बोलेगा क्या बोलेगा, permission denied, right? मैंने स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक किया क्या, ऑन बोर्डिंग मैंने स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक किया, ठीक है, ओके, ये लिखा, ये रन किया, हाँ, ये क्या देखो क्या आ रहा है, परमिशन, हाँ, परमिशन डिनाइड आ रहा है ना? इफ यू कैन सी, इफ आई एम रनिंग, say for example I don't want to give permission and want to run, I can still run. तो मैं कैसे रन करूंगा, I can use bash as a command and write my script name like on badding whatever, right? मैंने ये डाला, अभी देखो मैं रन करूंगा तो रन हो गया. फर्स्ट नेम पूछ रहा है, मैंने बोला से कुणाल, okay, say Mali, okay, organization say Athens, location say Baner. Now you see, right, welcome Mr. Kunal Mali to Athens. We have transport facility for your location Baner. Your system details, so OS is GNU Linux, memory details, and these are the memory details given to him. Right? So it's a very typical example. Now I want to execute while giving permission. तो अभी ये तो हमने bash से रन किया, अभी मैं इसको permission देके रन करना चाहता हूँ // में, तो मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा, chmod, and either I can use +x or I can use 755, ठीक है, to onboardings, right? दे दिया, अभी मैं // onboarding script को रन कर देता हूँ, तो अभी ये भी मेरे को पूछ रहा है, thanks, okay. Right, it is running. So if you see the scripting languages, right, they are nothing but, right, sequential execution of instructions that you have given. Only thing that you will see, right, something new for you would be command substitution. Something new would be, right, the way we are interpolating. Something new would be the read command for you. So it does mean what? There is a challenge related to the command vocabulary that you have. Else, execution wise, you are, right, can do it, execute it on few things that you have to right, get along with, right, like conditions, how to write conditions, how to write loops, right, how to write functions, which I have in very detail, right, described in all those sessions. The way I am speaking here, right, I have spoken out there in those videos also. ठीक है, तो उसको जरूर जाके देखो और उस वीडियो को ग्रास्प करने की कोशिश करो. आई एम टेलिंग यू, इफ यू take some time and spend time there for interviews, right, it's going to help you a lot.
Which video, sir? Sorry, I missed that word. Which video, sir?
Unix videos, shell scripting videos. You have already, Vivek. Okay.
Okay, I will see, sir. I will check.
Okay. Guys, any questions so far here?
Deepak, I have one query.
Yes.
Like, why we are using chmod after 755?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the meaning of that 755 in that?
Sure. Though I have told you those details are there, right, in videos. But let me say for initial beginners, that is some challenge, right? Let me use that knowledge out here, right? So, like, for example, I'm just making this. Okay. First of all, I will basically define. You have to understand few things: user, right? Groups,
Others.
right, and others. Okay. Now I will go to this machine and do ls minus ltr, right? And for example, this learn vi, I am copying this part. ये जो part है मैं इसको copy कर रहा हूँ, ठीक? So understand this is right octet rule which permissions, right, Unix permissions are applied. So I'm breaking this down in the three parts. Okay. Right, and I am taking this rw dash, this is the first one, to users. Okay, the very first one, right, or control X. So this is a user's permission. The very first part is what? User's permission. The second part is what? Groups. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the last part, right, is what? Others. Okay, now what does rw dash or rw right means? So in octet rule, this r has a value of what? 4. Okay, w has a value of what? 2, and x has a value of 1. Now you will understand why I'm calling it an octet rule. So if you sum this rwx, right, maximum it will go till what? 7, right? And octet is what? 0 to 7. Agree or not?
I got it.
Yeah. Now, now if you make a combination, right? Why I given 777? To make user an executable permission, right? So I am going to enable, right, this execute, which is dash, right? I want to convert into what? X. So I am enabling it. Right now user has what permission? Has 7.
Read, write, and
Right?
execute.
4, 5, 6, 7, right? Huh. And when I say 5, so I am removing this write permission and giving what? Executable permission, right? So it becomes what? 5 for group. And same, right, I am doing for others, so that they can read and execute but cannot write into it, right? And
Yes, yes.
so now the permission come to 755. Okay.
Yeah, got it, got it. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So you people should revisit, right, for most of you, right, who are very new or beginner, right, to visit that video in which I have right described about permission, right, and some detail about, right, who falls in user, who falls in groups, and right, what are others. So those segregation and understanding is also there. So you can simply think like an IAM of Unix, identity access management in Unix. Okay. Hope this is clear, guys, to everyone. This part, right, what we did today, right, in terms of, right, just giving an awareness how to use those Unix videos. Today I had a plan, but I don't think, right, we will be able to achieve. So I will do in tomorrow session. So tomorrow in AWS, we are going to talk about what? AWS services. We are going to do a lab of serverless right application creation using Lambda. So we are going to use Lambda today. I will also tell you how to create Lambda, right, and how to work on Lambda also a bit, right. And also we will be creating a flow in which the flow is something like this, right? There would be a user, right, who would be using AWS service like Route 53 S3 service and API gateway to trigger the Lambda, which is a serverless, right, code, and that code will give a response, and that response will be given back to the user. So obviously we would have certain codes in which we will be, right, having a button and when we click that button is nothing but going to execute the Lambda, and we will get a response, and we will see some change, right? As an output response, we will be changing our page, right? Web application page. So this is what basically the lab is about. But important thing without lab is, right, you have to understand, right, what those services and what those services meant. So it's just to give a broader idea. Since you have understand of IAM, now you can have a very you can say overview, or you can say 30,000 feet overview of IAM. There are a lot of things in IAM that when you actually work, then you will get. But what I have imparted you will enable you, right, to deal with it. So this is how you have to take it things. But remember, until unless you do multiple labs, you repeat those labs that I'm telling you, uh, you will not grasp them, because when you do it, you will have certain questions. You will come to me and ask those questions, then I will answer you those questions. Then only things will work. So representation or mentoring is different, but things which is very important is your hands-on. So after right our lecture, you have 1 week, and if you take at least half an hour, right, for Unix video initially, and half an hour to go through the video and implement it, because the step-wise interaction, you will have your mind broaden, and a lot of questions will come around at that time. So just note down those questions, right? Take the initial 5-10 minutes of our session, right, to ask query question, right? That will give you good, you can say, perspective that what you are learning, right, it's getting to you. So that's the way I say, right, you approach for learning. Okay, so I will stop here, and tomorrow, remember, we are going to do certain AWS related lab. One is this serverless one thing, but there, apart from that, there I am having another labs that I will be giving as an assignment tomorrow. I will discuss about those assignment, and you have to implement it. Okay, any query questions, guys?
Hello.
Yes.
हेलो सर. सर एक्चुअली जो वीडियोस आपने शेयर किए थे लास्ट टाइम यूनिक्स के, तो उस वो यानी उसका सीक्वेंस क्या है
मैं बता
देखने के
देता हूँ.
लिए?
मैं भी बता देता हूँ आपको.
I had same question.
Yeah, good. This is a very
Me too.
good question. We can spend some time, and that would be good discussion actually. Let me go to Google Classroom.
Share to me as well this sequence.
So I will share you the classroom code. Right? Just get enrolled to it. No. So the sequence would be, right, there is an introduction video. You see. Somewhere you're seeing some introduction to. Okay, so here is basics part 1.
One, yes.
Right, basic part 1, part 2, part 3. First cover this, so basic part 1, part 2, part 3, and then go to conditions. Okay, conditions in Unix. Okay?
Unix.
Condition in Unix. After condition in Unix, you should go to this loop functions part 1. Okay, and loop functions part 2. Okay, and then you have to jump to this functions set starter. Okay, then you before going to loops, right, or conditions, you should first do this. So basics part 1, then you have to go to this variable and special variable part, right? This is right before conditions. Basics part 1, part 2, part 3, then variable, special variable, okay, then conditions, then loop, part 1, part 2, then function side stream, okay, then you can use utilities, Unix utilities, sed awk, okay, and awk part 2 and awk essentials, right? These are all utilities. This utilities like sed, awk, Unix utilities in which maybe cron has been discussed, right? Awk essential, awk part 2, and the supporting thing would be this shell scripting PPT. It has everything that I am teaching is right there in this PPT with right all the example codes and everything, right, and sequence is also here, right, in this PPT. And these are handouts, right, which you can pick from handout from class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4. In that sequence, you should do these handouts. And this is a problem statement, which is very intuitive. After going through videos, right, you should try this, right? This is something, right, which will give you industry related queries, questions, and in basically interviews, some of the questions might come from this, right? In that way, right, it has been captured out here. तो आप इतना भी करोगे तो इंटरव्यू में अगर कोई सेल स्क्रिप्ट लिखने आया या कुछ आया कभी, राइट, या कुछ पूछा तो आप बता पाओगे. एंड दिस VI cheat sheet is related.
Sir,
Yes.
can you please tell the sequence once again?
So basics part 1, part 2, part 3, variable, special variable, conditions, loop part 1, part 2, function set stream, utilities, Unix utilities, and sed awk, awk part 2 and cron, right, and awk essentials. All okay.
Okay.
But feel free whenever you are in some doubt, right, while going through video, call me or right, ask me. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And I will upload today's video by yeah.
Give me this link also.
So I will share you the class room. I already shared with the class in the chat. I will just copy paste in that chat group. You are in that WhatsApp group, right, Vivek? So I will
Yes,
paste
sir.
it there. This the same code. You have to just right follow the instructions. So I will give you share you the instructions how to right get enrolled
Okay.
into this class. Okay, so by today evening I will be sharing today's video. I hope this user data part you should right do hands-on, right, to go to the console account and do that. I will also ask don't do one thing जो मैंने बोला वो तो करना ही करना, and then try to host a Ubuntu machine, right, and use Ubuntu related right web server installation, क्योंकि वहाँ पे HTTPD इंस्टॉल नहीं होगा. तो Ubuntu में क्या इंस्टॉल होगा, Apache 2 होगा. तो उसके लिए आपको कमांड भी अलग डालने पड़ेंगे, राइट, apt कमांड से करना पड़ेगा. टेक दैट एज अ चैलेंज कि रेड हैट पे किया तो Ubuntu पे भी करके देखते हैं, राइट. और वही क्लाउड इनिट लॉग्स पे जाके चेक भी करना है कि हाँ वहाँ पे
मेरा विंडोज 10 है सर.
तो आपको विंडोज पे कौन इंस्टॉल करने बोल रहा है, आपको AWS अकाउंट पे करना है ना विवेक?
सर हेलो.
सर उबंटू इंस्टॉल करना पड़ेगा ना सर?
आप अभी मैंने कैसे लॉन्च किया था इंस्टेंस, आप सेशन में थे
थ्रू द EC2 इंस्टेंस.
हाँ, तो इंस्टेंस में जाके Ubuntu इंस्टेंस लॉन्च करो ना, वहीं पे तो करना है वो. आज का लैब कैसे किया हमने, आपका विंडोज लैपटॉप हो या कोई भी हो, आप कहाँ पे मशीन बना रहे हो, AWS पे बना रहे हो ना. AWS में EC2 पे जाके इंस्टेंसेस में जाके लॉन्च करना है और Ubuntu सेलेक्ट करना है. लेट मी शो यू. So these are basic things,
Sir,
right? I don't think you should right yeah, if you are in the class attentive Vivek, you would have understood this, but if you have not, let me tell you. So this is what it's the launch instance.
Yes sir, yes.
And
Got it.
here is Ubuntu server that you right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Hello sir, is
hello Amar. Okay. Hello.